All right. Welcome back to another Sunday night with CoalitionM on KFHS Radio. For those of you listening live, and welcome to my YouTube listeners as well. I'm your host, Carson Lopez. So tonight I have some fine gentlemen in studio, and we're going to get into the nitty-gritty, nasty truths about what it's like to date in the gay community, mostly from the perspective of three gay men, and of course I'll be sprinkling in my thoughts here and there. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and introduce the guests. So who wants to start us off?
What do you want us to state?
Just what's your name? Major if you want.
Okay.
How's it been going? What you been doing?
My name is Cameron Walker. I'm 19 years old. My major is leadership studies, but I'm thinking about changing that.
Are you a sophomore?
Yeah.
Okay.
I should have said that.
No, it's okay. Can never tell. People tell me their age, and I'll be like, does that make you a sophomore? Because, like, there's a graduate student right now who's not even 18 yet. I don't think
really?
she
Jesus Christ. Good
Yeah.
for her. What?
Yeah.
I need to step it up.
Damn.
I'm not doing the right things
the
in life.
CAMS students, I hate them.
Jesus Christ.
Okay.
My name is Jaron Moss. I am a senior this year, so hopefully after the semester, just one more semester left, and we're good to go.
Woohoo!
But I am an informatics major, emphasis in video production, and I'm 21 years old.
All right.
I'm Luke. I'm a senior. I have 2 semesters left because I changed my major like 27 times. I'm a finance major, and I'm 23.
All right. I did not know you were a finance major.
Yeah, I
The
love
more
that
you
money,
learn.
girl.
Cool. Okay, so unfortunately Cam will be leaving us shortly because you've got practice to get to at 8. Is that right? Okay, cool. So we're going to try to squeeze as much out of him as we can within the next hour, pun intended. So thank you for joining us tonight, guys. I hope you're going to have as much fun as I will. Some of the things, this is kind of for the listeners, some of the things we're going to get into may be kind of hard to hear for some listeners, and I understand if it isn't your taste, but this is real life, and I'm just not going to sugarcoat it since most of you are probably adults. Actually, I probably wouldn't sugarcoat it for kids either, honestly. But a fair warning, this is personal stuff, so we are going to get personal, and because we're going to be talking about things involved in dating in the gay community, so things like love and sex and religion and society, negatives and positives, and relationship politics, because those are all real things that play into who we are as people, especially as sexual minorities. So I don't like to beat around the bush too much because the whole point of this show is maintaining a space of safety and openness, so I'm going to get right to it. So let's start at the beginning. For you guys, what was it like growing up knowing you were gay? Did it take some of you a while to kind of come to terms with it?
Yeah, definitely. When I first came out, I came out as bi. I came out twice. I came out as bi first, and then about junior year, sophomore year, somewhere in between there, I came out as gay. And I just slowly accepted it. At first, like freshman year of high school, I was like, I'm straight, and I had a girlfriend and all of that. And then later that year, I was like, you know what, I kind of like guys. And then that summer, I started to experiment with that and talk to more guys. And then I was thinking, okay, I think I might be bi. And then I accepted the fact that I was bi, or I thought so. And then I further explored with that, and I was like, maybe I'm just gay. And so then after that, I accepted the fact that I was gay, and then I came out to my mom, and yeah.
Good.
It wasn't the best time. I grew up in a very religious household. So
What religion?
Jehovah's Witness.
Okay.
Yes. And I came out to my mother last year. It was like right after, I think, Thanksgiving break. And it was an accident. I did not mean to do that. But I think I accepted it that I was gay probably junior year.
Of high school?
Of high school, yes.
Okay.
And then freshman year of college is when I came out to my friend. Actually, not true. No, yeah. I would say like that. I think that after first semester is when I came out to my friends. And then I came out to my mother my junior year of college. Right after
okay.
Thanksgiving break, yes.
Okay.
So.
Cool.
I always knew Ever since
Yeah.
like Sunday school, I had a crush on one of the guys, and I'd be like,
Yeah.
wonder what he's like.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then 3rd grade, I discovered
That's
Will
interesting.
and Grace, and I told my mom I had a crush on Will. So we kind of just always, Luke likes boys.
God love Will and Grace.
Me too. He was the original daddy.
Oh no.
Will?
He made it acceptable
Absolutely.
for the rest of us to be daddies.
What about Jack?
No, Jack.
He said, "What about Jack?"
Jack was what we call a femme,
Yes.
so not
That's
a
true.
daddy.
Okay. We'll get into that. By the way, we don't have to go in like a pecking order. So like
yeah.
Cam, Jaren, Luke, you know, like, you guys can talk whenever,
All right.
whenever you want. So Cam, you said you kind of came out as bi
Yeah.
first. Was that because you thought you were bi, or because you thought it would be easier that way? Both.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was kind of
What
like
do you mean?
it's kind of a shield. It's like I'm gay, but I'm not like gay. You know, I still like girls, and I like explained it to my mom. Such a horrible way. I was like, yeah, I like guys and girls 50-50. You know, like I'm not gay, but I'm gay. Like kind of in that way. It's so bad, but
No, that's interesting because sometimes when I talk to other people about their coming out stories, a lot of them say even though they knew they were gay, they would come out as bi because it's just easier for people to hear than
I
just
think so.
I'm gay. You know,
Yeah.
what do you guys think about that? Have you heard of that? Have you
No,
heard
yeah.
of people
Yeah.
doing that?
Just because I think it's probably, I would assume it's easier for people to hear just because it's still kind of like, oh, well, you like girls, and that's what they would consider normal. So it's not like as like such a jarring transition for them. It's like, okay, we'll just add something in. That's not as bad as it could have been, sort of thing, I think. But there
Yeah.
definitely is like, at least if it's not like real, there's like a real like stigma towards it. There's definitely like where people think that it is easier for those reasons because it's not as such a big transition from like
Yeah.
one or the other.
For sure. It's funny you said it's like it is jarring.
No, yeah,
To go from people thinking that you're straight to actually I'm gay.
yeah,
And coming from where we are now, that's weird. You know?
Oh, yeah.
It's weird. It is.
Yeah,
it's
it
weird,
is
but
weird.
it's still jarring for people.
no, yeah,
You know, even our age to hear that their friend is gay, you know. It's funny because when you really think about it, it's like, why? You know, and it's and we're going to get into religion obviously, but it's not like it's always religion. I feel like sometimes it really is. They feel like it changes you
Yeah.
in some way,
Yeah.
and it just doesn't. You know, like it changes you, I think, in the way that you're finally going to be yourself
Yeah.
more,
Yes.
and you're gonna introduce them to your partners and boyfriends and girlfriends and stuff, obviously, but you know, nothing about who Cameron is changing, you
Right.
know, all of a sudden, but it feels like that to them.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I think it's an easy out, honestly,
What do you mean?
of like, you're gay and I don't know how to handle it. So rather than just be honest and say, like, I don't know how to handle it, they're just like, that's not okay because
Maybe, yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
a Christian.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, well, you liked me on Tuesday. So
Yeah.
I think straight did a day.
It's like coming into the conversation, you were fine with me until I said those words.
Yeah.
And
so,
then
like,
all of a sudden,
yeah.
snap, everything changes.
Right.
They like justify it by being like,
Yeah.
I'm a Christian. It's
Well,
not right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it's just interesting to kind of think about where that comes from in people, like what makes them all of a sudden see you from dating, you know, girls to all of a sudden, oh, now he's going to date men, but then it's like traumatic
Yeah.
almost to them for to suddenly think about you dating somebody else. And it's interesting. I think it kind of plays into how seriously we take dating
Yeah.
and relationships and love and sex. It's like those things are so important to people, and I don't know why, you know, because it's like literally that's the only thing changing
No, yeah.
about your perspective of somebody is that, oh, instead of taking a their girlfriend home for Thanksgiving. If they're a gay man, now they're probably gonna just be taking home, a boyfriend or a
Unacceptable.
date. And it's like,
We did not take this land from the Native Americans to have you bring someone of the same sex home for Thanksgiving, and I'm not thankful.
oh yeah, yeah. It does,
Jesus.
but it gets like that.
No,
like
yeah.
it's funny, but really,
Yeah.
like these are real thoughts, like in people's heads. Like, oh, who are you? It's like literally the same person as before. But so yeah. What, Jaron? You kind of mentioned a little bit that you grew up in a religious home.
Yes.
So, for all of you, what role did religion play into this? We'll just start with just your self-concept right now. We won't necessarily go into how your parents dealt with it because of the religious thing just yet. We'll get into that, but just for right now, did that play any kind of role in you accepting who you are and what you were going to tell people and how you thought of yourself? Did religion play any kind of role in that?
It made me hesitant
Okay.
because it was like you grow up Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve,
Mhm.
and all of that. So you're like, well, am I going to hell for it?
Mhm.
But then one day I just kind of was like, well, God made me, so
Mhm.
he must love me.
Yeah.
It must be okay. Because, like, I don't think you choose it. So then that was my, like...
You can't.
Because, like,
yeah.
even now as, like, a full adult, like, with bills and stuff, I still get, like, insecure, I guess, when the
Really?
gay part comes up in church.
Really.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, God, I should have skipped.
Are you Christian? Is it
Yeah.
You go to a Christian church? Okay.
Yeah.
What denomination? Just
I think just general.
okay. So pretty non-denominational. There are a lot like that. So
I go
that's
to
normal.
I go to a really big church with
Okay.
like 6 different services and a
Oh, okay.
Spanish edition.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
So like, it's not as big as like if I went to some tiny church where like everybody knows you. And
Yeah. So it's not like a Catholic service or anything like that. It's just
No.
kind of church.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay. So it made you kind of hesitant, you said, to
Yeah, like-
accept it,
Yeah.
that
Like,
it was true.
like I said, like I've always been out since like 3rd grade, but
Mhm.
like in high school when you start to like, well, am I a religious girl or am I not? It was kind of like one of those where like, oh, maybe this isn't okay. Maybe I should date girls. Like just coming to terms with like myself and being like confident with like it's fine to be who you are and like love who you love and have a crush on who you crush on. Like
Mhm.
I do think God made us all equal and like made us gay because like who would choose to be gay? It's not like that great.
Yeah. Can't
Yeah.
think of all of the privileges I have as
Yeah.
a gay man in America. I can't think of why I would lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you say you were already kind of out even in 3rd grade, do you mean like to yourself or to other people? Like did everybody kind of know? Like did you have to tell them, or were you just cool with who you were and that it's just something
Yeah.
that was part of you?
I've always been cool with it. Like
okay.
to me, it's not a big deal. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I like to ski. Oh, I'm gay. Like,
Yeah.
it's not something that I'm like going out there in like a rainbow suit and being like,
Yeah.
guess what?
If you didn't know, now you know.
Yeah.
That's funny because that was actually literally what I did freshman year.
You did
I
it?
remember. Yeah, I remember.
I
she
actually
did.
did dress up in one of those tight suits.
yeah.
It wasn't
Yes.
rainbow, but it was very colorful, and ugly,
Mhm.
like a rainbow.
Yeah.
And I did wear it. And yeah,
You had a ponytail back then, though. You were a
I
different
did have
person.
a ponytail back
You were.
then. But
Oh
I
my
didn't wear it in
goodness.
the mask because you couldn't.
That's fair.
In
It
the
was-
mask?
Yeah,
It was
was
like
one
a
of those.
full body.
Like the
what are
blue
they
guy?
called? What are
like
they?
the
Yes. I forgot what it's called.
I think there was like a name for him.
Yeah.
Like a.
it was like
It's like a,
it's
cause
one of
it
those
covered your
full
face,
body-
right? Yeah, like
Yeah.
What'd you do with your hair? Just zipped it up?
she
yeah, it
put
just
it down.
went inside.
Yeah. And
It
there's-
was got really hot.
Go
in
you.
there.
No, yeah.
Yeah, it was uncomfortable.
Because that used to be a
I
big
wouldn't
thing
wear
back
it a
in the
lot,
day.
but it was
Everyone
funny.
had one. What were they called? Because you can get them like in
I don't
every color.
remember.
You could.
Yeah, because it was like I wasn't just doing it randomly. It was the it was
She's like,
the
guess
gay
what?
it was the GSA like mascot
Mascot.
kind of was
Oh.
the gay
Here?
yes here
Oh.
here yeah I was the gay mascot for GSA for a time. I don't remember how long I did it, but yes, I literally did jump
Just
around
that,
in
skin tight
gayness.
suit.
Skin
I mean,
tight
really,
suit.
not much is different
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
gay. That's a typical
Yeah.
Friday night. I don't know.
Yeah,
about you.
whatever. Like, it's just funny because I literally did that. I'm not at all like that now. Like, in fact, I remember that I would like buy all of these rainbow things, and like I had a shirt that said yes homo, and then I had another shirt that I forgot what it said, but it was way more comfortable than the other one. I think it was something about being gay. And I would get, rainbow necklaces, just I would gay it up, but I didn't realize until like sophomore year that actually makes me really uncomfortable, and I hate it. And I think rainbow is super ugly. Not a big fan of rainbow.
There it is.
Hate it. So terrible.
Come for her.
Yeah.
You can find her at.
Come at me right
descend
now.
upon her.
This is not going to be a popular thing, but I hate rainbow. Oh my
They're
gosh.
so for gay people. I feel like look at what all we have like cosmetically attributed. We could have come up with something like.
I agree, and it's like, oh god, it just makes you. It's all those colors screaming at you. It's just.
That's what we're here to
gives
scream.
me a headache.
Let people
I know.
know.
Oh my gosh.
We gotta let
We're
people
gonna get
know.
into the pride
Jesus.
parades. We are. I'm gonna write
Oh,
that right
gosh.
now. Okay. Oh god. Anyway, so for you two, how did religion play into your self-concepts?
I think it
as
kind of
kids
makes
or
you
teenagers?
lose faith in God.
You think
You're
so?
like, does God really hate me because I'm gay?
Mm-hmm.
And like, you're just like, you know what? Maybe I just don't believe in God.
Mm-hmm. Was that like you went through that kind of as a teenager? Or?
Yeah, kind of a
Okay.
little bit.
Okay.
And that sometimes I was like, maybe I'm atheist,
Mhm.
like again questioning my faith. And then I was like, no, God loves me. It's just I don't have to fall underneath one denomination. I don't have
Mhm.
to be Catholic or Baptist or anything. I could just be
Yeah.
a Christian and be
Mhm.
gay at the
Mhm.
same time.
For me, I feel like I was luckier than most people that live like in a super religious household, just because Jehovah's Witnesses don't believe in hell. So there was never like the internal like torture, So I was like, okay, that's cool, that's great. I'll just die and then that'll be it. I'm fine with this.
Is that like for everybody? Everybody just dies and
so
that's
it's
it?
like the way it works is there's like 144,000 that will die and go to heaven,
Okay.
and like everyone else dies and that's it. But then later on, God or Jehovah, whatever one you would like to call him, he's gonna like wipe the earth clean, and it's like a paradise, and then he'll resurrect all the good people and they'll live forever.
Just
And
the
you'll just be-
144,
No,
or
the
like the gay
140
ones
no,
too.
so the 144 go straight to heaven. They get the express ride all the way up to heaven and just chill, all right? And everybody else, they die, that's it. But in the future, don't ask me when, because nobody knows. God will then make the earth a paradise and then resurrect the good people. It's very unclear because they also talk about how like those there's gonna be some people that aren't Jehovah's Witnesses that come back.
So how do they define good then?
Is
being gay part of that?
no, they're not a fan of gay people. Also,
Why not?
because of the Bible. Just in it says don't be a homosexual or something like that.
Yeah, it
And
does.
they read it and was like, all right.
So they just ignore everything else about hell?
Well, look, I'm not the person you should be asking about this. 'Cause
Okay. I'll ask
I'm not
you
gonna
after
lie.
the
Yeah. It's been a while. But I think one of like the things they use, and there might be backing for it somewhere that they have that I personally just don't know. But like they say that like why would God, like let's say, I think they gave the example like, okay, God hates Satan, obviously. And we're on the earth and God knows that Satan's out here messing shit up and making us bad. And they were like, well, why would someone have a child? Know there's someone out there like messing with the child and making them act a certain way. And then when they die, give that child to the bad person and have them torture them forever. And they're like, that doesn't seem to make too much sense, especially if he loves us. So,
Wait, yeah, did that happen? Is that like a thing?
what?
Like, I thought Jesus just went up to heaven.
Jesus is in heaven, yes.
So then what about giving a child to...
No. Okay, so it was like an analogy of like, let's say you have a child, right?
Yeah.
You send them off to school or whatever, and there's someone at their school that is making them do bad things, and it's like you really can't do anything about it, and it's just happening. And then when your child does something bad, why would you then be like, you know what, give them to the bad person to then mess with for the rest of their life, sort of thing. It's like, why would you do that to someone you love?
So they do believe in Satan.
So yes,
okay,
yeah, they believe in Satan and all that. They
but
just
it's kind
don't
of
believe
a
in
looser relationship.
Yeah, where does Satan live if it's not hell?
He's here.
He's
on the planet. Yeah, because God casted him down and threw him onto the planet.
Earth.
Yeah, and was like, fuck you. And then he'll eventually kill him or something like that.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
That is familiar.
I'm not a very.
I am familiar with that.
I tried my best to explain
No,
that.
yeah, I think you're right, because
so hard.
I am a little familiar with kind of the Jehovah's Witness perspective of it, and
Yes.
it's that there's no hell, but Satan is like the ruler of this world.
This world at the moment currently. He's ruling shit.
Yeah, it gets interesting.
So yeah,
For sure.
So I was lucky on that aspect.
So you didn't have hell to worry about.
No, I didn't. But here it is. But and a lot of it was more so internal because obviously I wasn't out to my parents. But it was like it got to the point where I was just like, I just won't think about it. And I may be gay, but it won't affect me because I'm not thinking about it. And I was pretty successful for a while.
Yeah?
Yeah. I never like dated any girls or anything or like tried to be straight. It was just like I don't like anyone. There are obviously like cute guys and everything, but I wouldn't even say like I had like crushes on people. And a lot of it was I convinced myself because I grew up in a military family that why would I date someone if I'm just going to move in 3 years? And so I never did. And that was always the excuse I gave is because I was like, well, if I date someone, I would go in having the intentions to be with them forever. And I know I will leave in 3 years. So there is no need for this.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's smart. I guess that's a true thing. I'm sure that was legitimately a problem kind of could be for anybody too, gay or straight. Well, what's the point of trying to do
date,
this?
Yeah,
and I'm just
if I'm
gonna
leave in 3 years, so
I know it's got an expiration date on it.
So I think that helps in a way. I put quotation marks around helped because
that helps you kind of ignore.
Well, kind of ignore it because I don't need to date because I'm gonna leave in 3 years, and I'd rather just have friends than like someone that I care a lot about and then have to leave, sort of. If that makes sense.
So what changed then?
I'm no longer moving around.
You're more comfortable.
Yeah, I was like, well, now, okay, I'm not going to leave in 3 years, so I guess. And it was also, I think, my junior year, I was in, because my freshman through sophomore year of high school, I was in Las Vegas, and then we moved to North Carolina for 1 year, my junior year, and I fucking hated it so bad. That was I didn't, because we moved to like a really, really small town. And it wasn't even like, I just didn't want to talk to anyone. I was like, I really am not feeling up to it. But I did a lot of internal thinking, and just like kind of got happy just like by myself. And I think that helped a lot just because it was like, I could not care less about what anyone thought. And then moving from North Carolina to here, I was like, okay, this is good now. I needed that. It was like a year off of social interaction with other humans, which was nice.
So you kind of used that time to explore yourself and your thoughts a little bit about
I think
about being gay?
About everything. Like, I don't think I think I might have, I didn't talk to like anyone. Like there was, unless I had to like for class. Other than that, like I was by myself listening to music, which was really nice. So I would like go to class would like get out, and I would just put my headphones in, walk to my other class, sit down, kept my headphones in until class started, take them out, do the class, put my headphones right back in, leave, and and I 100% was like, I don't need.
Withdrawn.
Yes, and it was amazing. It was like amazing because I had a lot of fun just in my head. Like I would people watch in class, which was, I had this one girl in my history class, and every time, no matter what it was, our history teacher said, she'd go, really? And it was like it would legit be like there were slaves in the South, and she'd be like, I had no idea. And it was I died every time. Like I was like, she's gonna take a test and have no idea what's happening because she's never heard about it. Yeah, she's like, and I'm like, what a surprise!
put that on our essay. Really?
Yes, every time she would be like, oh, and I was just like, and I would just look at her like, there it is, unbelievable.
Where did slaves come from in the South? What do you mean?
I didn't, but no, yeah, I just had I had a lot of fun internally.
Just people watching and
Yeah.
wow.
So I took time to myself, and it was what really needed. So.
And you kind of built up your own self-esteem.
Esteem, yeah, and then it didn't matter after that. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know if I could survive that.
You know,
I'm a social butterfly.
It was hard.
Yeah.
I think after a while it was easier. Like the first week and it also helped that I didn't know anyone and didn't care to know anyone because I would literally be leaving after that year.
Wow.
And knowing that I think helped me because I was like, I honestly do not care to get to know these people. So, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Could you guys have done that? Just not talk to anybody for like... Oh, how long was this?
An
long
entire
were you
school
there?
year.
A school year?
Yeah,
Okay.
basically.
Okay. Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't think I could have.
You still like had your friends from like other places though, right? Like you still talk to those people?
You know,
Or you just
And,
burn
like, your
all the
parents?
bridges as soon as you leave.
I am really bad at keeping up with people after I leave. So like, it's not that I don't have them. I just suck at talking to people.
So you
from
literally
far away.
just like talk to your parents and
I barely talk to them.
Dang.
Yeah, I just did a complete removal. And there were some people, like I think because I did cross country, and during cross country practice there was, I think, 3 people that I would talk to, and one of them I believe was gay. You know what? Honestly, I'm not going to say that. There were 2 guys who one would assume was gay, but it is unclear at this moment because I never asked and I didn't care. And there was one girl who was just really cool, and we would always talk about how the football players were stupid, and it was fun. But
Wow.
yeah.
I had... my experience was more like Luke's in that I was always pretty aware that I liked women. But I remember asking my mom one time when I was super young, what's a lesbian? And she said it's a woman who wants to be with other women. So she said something like that. And I remember freaking out because I was like, oh my God, I love Nicole Kidman.
You're like ruined it for the rest of my life.
It was like Nicole Kidman, her specifically. I remember that I was like, oh my God, I think I'm a lesbian because I love Nicole Kidman. It was the time of Moulin Rouge, so I was probably like 4 because that movie came out when I was
Amazing.
4 or 5. So
I can just imagine a 4-year-old car.
Oh,
What am I gonna do?
oh no!
That's cute.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go live in an elephant.
I'll wait for her. Yeah, yeah, and so it was always something. I didn't really know how to be ashamed of it. I mean,
Yeah.
it was obviously. It was eventually a struggle because eventually people's opinions get in and you start hearing what they think about gay people. But for the longest time, it really wasn't a problem. I just kind of was who I was, and it wasn't in high school. I remember I felt free. I grew up in a Catholic family, so I went to a Catholic school K through 8. And Catholics are probably one of the harshest critics of gay people, particularly gay men.
Hey.
And so I was kind of safer just because people are generally gentler on women, especially if they're gay, than they are on men, unfortunately. And so it was kind of easy to hide because women are just kind of naturally affectionate towards each other because there's no homo thing going on there.
Gender stereotypes.
Yeah, and so we were just honestly just taught to be that way differently. And so it was kind of easy to hide it, and that's why it didn't feel like I was hiding it, because nobody asked really, and it would come up every once in a while, and I would sometimes, people would question me, but I didn't really know, so I was like, I guess, It wasn't until high school that I was starting to worry about it, and that was around the time that I did start going to church, I wasn't Catholic anymore, but I started going to a non-denominational church, And so that's when things started coming up. And I experienced the faith thing, and we can get into that a little bit more later. So Cam, I totally understand where you were coming from on that. I am an atheist now, but that's not really the reason. It's kind of what started it. But we can get into that a little bit later. But so I was kind of the opposite of you, Jaren. I didn't I was kind of everywhere about it in high school. And I remember kind of purposefully misleading people. So I came out as bisexual first. And I still kind of maintain that, even though I know that I'm not interested in dating men. But I would tell people, some people would come up to me and be like, so are you a lesbian? And I'd be like, well, what do you think? Or some people would be like, oh, I heard you were bi. And I was like, And then somebody else, I heard you were a lesbian. You're like, it was just fun to kind of just mess with people.
Cause mass chaos. And misinform the masses.
But part of that was I didn't know myself, and I remember some girl being like, just pick already. And I was like, no, because I was kind of boy crazy too. And so I didn't want to pick, because why? Why would I have to pick? That's ridiculous. But those pressures do start weighing on you. But I didn't. The way I dealt with it is I didn't look inward really. I kind of became more obnoxious about it, and more, which kind of fueled the insecurity a little bit too, I think. But that's just kind of the way I dealt with it. I didn't really get. I wish I'd kind of given myself the space to kind of think about it and learn to accept it first, and then let people think what they're going to think too. So there was a lot of that, kind of playing in there too. So we did touch a lot on kind of high school experiences a little bit. Did you guys ever experience anything else being around? High school's probably the worst time in everybody's life, just because everybody's going through the same kind of identity crisis stuff. And you shove all those people into one room, and then it's just ugly. It's just ugly. And so, did you guys have any other kind of experiences with that, especially being gay, especially coming from where you came from, which were, it sounds like we all kind of came from religious households, but then you get into high school where there are kids that you have more in common with than you think, but high school kids are not good at being tactful about their opinions about things, especially being gay and what they think of homosexuality, and because a lot of those opinions are kind of passed down from parents and they don't really know what they're saying. They're just saying it to talk, And so did you guys have any kind of experience with people maybe not outing you, but just kind of giving you kind of a side eye, kind of wanting to push you towards coming out, or was there anything of note in that area in high school?
Yeah. I never, because it's always been oh yeah, I like boys. I never really felt the need to tell my friends, guess what, girl? I'm gay.
Yeah.
So there was this one girl, and we were friends, and she was like, so you like boys, huh? And I was like, do you like boys? Because I was like, I feel like if somebody's going to ask you, whatever you say doesn't matter. They already have that, well, whatever. They're just not telling me the truth.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay.
Well, she didn't really ask the question. She,
told you.
She, told you.
And then she...
With a question mark at the end.
When I finally was like, yeah, girl, I like dudes, she went and told everybody.
Oh, no.
And it wasn't really a bad thing. There was one kid that every day I would pass by him and he'd be like, faggot. And then one day I just turned around and I was like, your dad says hi. I just made I just made a comment about his dad, and he stopped. And then
that's amazing.
I was in high school when
he
GBF.
stopped?
Yeah,
Wow.
he just stopped after that because he was like, well, clearly he doesn't care.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And I was in high school when having the gay best friend was an accessory.
Yeah.
So I was friends with all the girls, and the girls dated the guys that would make fun of you for being gay. So they never really made fun of me because
You were.
I'm best
You
friends
had
with
the
my
in,
girlfriend. So
you
I'm
had the plug.
You like your girlfriend? Because I'm going to be her
yeah,
mom.
Yeah. So you kind of had like a protective shield of friends who were girls. That's
it was
funny.
like I experienced that one kid enough to like see like, oh, okay, so people who have it harder like multiply him by like 1,000,000, but not enough to be like, oh my God, it was horrible. I went home and cried every day.
Yeah. That's interesting. The kind of dynamic between being friends with girls who would have boyfriends who clearly were homophobic. Is that what you're kind of talking about?
Yeah.
Was it
And then
homophobic?
you learn that like if you're really vocal about being homophobic and you're like, oh, those faggots.
Yeah.
Or, like that kid, like 90% of the time I've learned that like it's because they're gay.
Yeah.
Because like we graduated and then it was like plot twist.
Yeah.
Guess
I
what,
know.
guys?
We're still waiting on Mike Pence to go. But you're so right. You're so right about that kind of awkward ground. It is kind of like your girlfriends were kind of like a shield between you and them. Is that kind of accurate?
And like I never could. I always feel like you try to like understand like what's their point of view and what's their side. Like I'd be like, well, you know, he's never been around a gay guy, but then I was like, no, our school's like full of homos. Like
That's not it.
Yeah.
So, like, you try to understand, but like being someone who's been out their whole life, I don't understand. Like I just don't get it. Like why not? It's not that big of a deal. It's okay.
Yeah. I always wonder kind of what conversations go on between them. You know, when they're alone and when if the boyfriend wants to talk about it, you know, I always wonder kind of how does the friend deal with that?
Like the girl?
Yeah, the girl.
Oh, she'd straight up tell him. She'd be like, it is fine. He is who he wants.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they break up because he can't get over it.
Wow.
And then I'm like, sorry, girl.
They would I mean, that doesn't surprise me because high school.
It's not like every single one would break up.
Yeah.
It sounds like way more lifetimey than it is. It was like one or two would be like, I just can't handle you. You're too close-minded.
Wow, yeah.
But like most of the time she'd just be like, it's Luke. Get over it. Like, I accept you.
Yeah.
That's good.
That is true. And then also it's the ones who get really upset about it, who you later learn were gay.
Because you don't get upset over the truth. You get upset because you got caught lying. So. Yeah.
Or you get really. I feel like maybe a lot of that is self-projection because sometimes they feel so unsafe being who they are that when they see somebody who's so comfortable being who they are, it makes them angry, you know, that they don't have that they can't have that with their friends, with their family, with themselves, you know. And so that's definitely an interesting and very, very true problem that I feel like a lot of gay men experience, especially being so young, you know, in high school and things like that. And so, but
as an adult, I think I don't know about you guys, but like the ones where you're like, oh, you're really cool for a gay guy. I'm like, well, gee, thanks. They'll be like, I don't have a problem with gay guys as long as they don't hit on me. And
I was like, no one. Why would?
Did you guys ever deal with that, or do you deal with that? Is dudes being like, as long as you don't hit on me, you know, as long as you don't.
And they're always, always ugly. It's always
and I'm like, why would you assume? I'm like, don't flatter yourself. You're not in the game.
First off, not my saltine.
Yeah, the one guy in high school, and it's funny because he's here now.
Oh.
The one guy.
What's his name? I need some receipts.
The one guy who made fun of me like once or twice in high school for being gay is still like, I always thought he was gay, and here's why: because he had bedazzled jeans and frosted tips. It wasn't 2005. Okay, this was 2010.
That wasn't even cool in 2005. Let's
This was like 2013. Like, so this wasn't style.
I need to see these. Hopefully he's still
I'll show you.
Yeah, what's his name?
Oh my God. But like, I see him now.
Does he live in McMidas?
Oh my God. I don't even think, because I would run into him a lot on campus, but like,
does he still have the frosted tips?
Please say
no,
yes.
he doesn't.
He doesn't. Like, I haven't seen nobody with
He
them.
doesn't. Yeah, he got over that, I guess.
Jeez.
But he is, and then I ran into him freshman year of college, and he was still so aggressively homophobic.
Oh
like, he said, you know, and I brought it up to him. I was like, so, but you're cool with lesbians, huh? And he was like, oh yeah. Totally.
Why is that? Why do straight guys, okay,
That's
they don't
disgusting.
realize that, like, girl on girl is gay, too.
I don't think they've ever met an actual lesbian. I think that's the problem.
Yeah, it's just
They've never. They've met straight girls who
Look,
pretend.
the
impress
media
them,
can
yeah.
brainwash and influence people, and the porn industry has really just
Yeah.
twisted and
Yeah.
the view of lesbianism on the culture. And
And I will tell you, it is so frustrating to be an actual gay woman trying to look at some decent porn because you can tell it's fake.
no, I'm so
I'll
sorry.
just say that
God,
right now.
yeah,
You can
some-
tell they
most
don't like
gays.
it. You can tell. I don't know how it is. Yes, I do, because I watch that too. Gay porn is much better. Like men on
Really?
men.
It's worse than gay porn. Sometimes I resort to
Lesbians.
straight porn just because, like,
Well, I mean, I
well,
feel
same,
like
but
lesbian porn. Like
yeah.
I,
because you know it's for the man watching. It's
I
not,
yeah, it's
yeah.
not.
Yeah, it's.
They
just-
actually
it's-
have straight porn shot for gay men.
They have what?
Straight porn that is like shot and filmed for gay men.
Really?
Yes, look it up.
So they have that, but they can't make.
It's all
some
about
decent
look. It's
lesbian
all
porn.
about catering to the males, no matter
about we'll
if
get it
gay or
together.
straight.
Whether gay or straight, it's about the
Eventually,
men.
it'll catch up, and there'll be something filmed for women. You Google it. There's probably something.
let's do it
Well,
together. We'll
no-
create that channel. It'll be a
Yeah, I'll
You
check
know
out
what?
the video
Let's go to
equipment
Kansas
and-
Startup
Yes.
with this idea.
We'll do it
of
in the
shooting
room 2 doors
genuine-
down.
Yes, I can get us.
Perfect.
I can get the studio reserved if that's
Perfect,
what you guys
yeah.
want to do.
I'd like to be
Yeah.
the
We
director.
have a nice.
This
Like, new
weekend is
president
everyone
seems
free?
cool.
Yes.
Oh, jeez.
Amazing. Yeah, but yeah, this guy totally cool with lesbians. Literally said, "But if a gay guy touches me, I am running in the other direction." So literally homophobic.
Like,
Like,
I had a
scared.
resident like that.
Scared.
My first year as an RA, he was like,
Really?
"I'm like afraid of gay people." Like I was like, and I,
Afraid of-
but, like he's like, "Yes, I'm homophobic," and I think another
Oh, I
RA
remember
was
you
with
telling me
me.
about him.
Yeah, and she was like very mad about it, but I was more like, I legit
What's
think.
wrong?
Like I was just like,
Yeah.
yeah, he's legit afraid. Like it's not like he hates them; he's afraid of them, and I don't know how to feel about this because I don't.
And it's like,
he's
what
scared.
is scary?
He doesn't
about?
want to be
Is it like
turned
the
gay.
act?
I don't.
Oh my God.
Look. I don't.
He thinks it's like a, you catch it in the air.
I'm not sure,
So
but
gay.
like you
He's
could
so
tell.
gay.
You
So
totally
gay.
can. Heteros, watch out.
Extremely,
Yeah.
We're coming.
extremely cute too. But I was just like,
Aw, so gay. Probably.
I don't know how to. He's like legit afraid. It's not that he hates
that
them.
they're gonna that
But
by
he's
hanging
like-
out with gay guys too
Because
much
I
is
think
gonna
his
turn
roommate
gay,
was
or
gay, and he was like,
okay.
"I don't want that room because I'm afraid." And I was like, "Afraid of?"
If you're that scared?
No, he was legit. Like he was
Oh my
scared, and I was
gosh.
like,
He must
Yeah.
not go to Chuck's because you rub up on all sorts of men.
I mean,
just walking.
I have no words.
Wow.
He's no longer attending school here. He was a football player, didn't like it, and then he stopped.
Too
So,
many gay people.
I guess he wanted to play soccer.
Too much
question
male
mark?
nudity in the locker room. In the locker room, he's like, nope, because I'll want it
yeah,
if I look at it.
He was actually
Wow.
afraid, and like and
Well,
the other was
sounds
like
like a-
getting mad at him for like telling us that, and I was like, I don't think I can be mad at him because he's actually just scared.
Why were they
and-
getting mad at him for saying that?
Because I don't know if they realized that he was just afraid, like legit, like terrified of gay people. I don't know, but I was like, I don't feel like I can't be mad at him because he's honestly afraid.
I don't know. I mean, I do know why someone would get mad,
Yeah, but you
it
understand- yeah.
logically makes no sense
like-
because
Yeah.
if he's
No.
telling you he's afraid
Afraid.
of them, why don't you try educating him
Yeah.
instead?
And
of
I was
yelling
just
at him?
like, oh my God,
Wow.
it was.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I was
Did
just
he
like,
Did he know you were gay?
no,
He
I don't think.
didn't?
No, and that's the other thing because growing up, I had like literally everyone would ask me if I'm gay, and then when I finally was like yes, I'm gay, I accepted this. But next time someone asks me if I'm gay, I'll say yes. Everyone just assumes I'm straight now, and I don't. And I'm just like, well,
I think I asked you.
poop.
Like at
You
the very
did.
beginning.
Low key, I thought you were straight. And then I saw you on Grindr, and I was like, girl, what?
I just I
could tell
can
you were
never
gay.
get what I want, and I.
It was when we were first hanging out at the beginning of sophomore year when we were RAs together. I remember I was like, I really don't know. And then you did something and I was like, yeah.
I keep
He's
people on their
gay.
toes, I guess. I'm just
Mhm.
like, I
That's
don't
wonderful.
know what to do. I live my life normally, and everyone assumes I'm gay, and then I accept it. And I'm like, yes.
And
now
everyone's like,
everyone's
straight.
assumes
Straight
I'm
as an
straight, and I'm
arrow.
like, well, I guess I'm just not gonna be happy for the rest of my life. No.
Well, Cam, you actually dated women though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, for real?
Like you dated.
Like freshman year of high school.
Gotcha,
We only
gotcha.
kissed. We didn't do anything other than
Okay.
that.
Fair.
Just kiss on the lips, like like teenage kiss, like Mwah.
Okay, gotcha. It's
Yeah,
like
nothing more than
cute little awkward
yeah,
dating,
awkward.
quote unquote. Yeah, okay.
Awkward. But we're still friends.
Awkward. Yeah. So did you kind of, because you're kind of unique, because you did come out as bisexual, because you thought
Yeah.
that really was who you were, and then as you learned, like the rest of us learn, when you
Mhm.
get older, you start realizing who you really are and what you really like.
Yeah.
So did you kind of experience any of the things that we're talking about? Like,
Like freshman year of high school, I was in Spanish class, and I don't know why I was sitting in the back of the classroom, because like that's where all the troublemakers are. I never sit in the back, and so they were all like, "Are you like as straight as a circle?" And they didn't run through my head, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm as straight as a circle." Yeah, what do you mean? And then they were just laughing. I'm like,
Oh.
I'm confused. Like, what do you mean? And then years later, I'm like, oh shit, they were saying, "Are you gay?"
years later,
Yeah.
he woke up in a cold sweat.
I get it.
Wait a
I
minute.
know. But then
Straight
like,
as a
what you call
sucker.
it? Those circles. I hate it.
Wow.
But like years after that, like I was on the dance team, so I would perform in front of the school, and it was all good from there. But like freshman year was kind of hard, but sophomore year got better, junior year got better, senior year was like amazing, and so like everyone
Good.
knew I was gay, so it was like
Yeah.
not bad at all.
Good. Do you have to go?
Oh,
It is 7:52. 53.
Three.
I might have to be a little late.
Okay,
No, no,
that's
keep
fine.
talking. I want to
That's fine. That's fine. We can keep talking. Okay, because my next question is, since we're kind of on that, we're kind of leaning towards that since we went ahead and had the porn talk real quick.
Sorry.
No, I love it. It
We're
wasn't even
boys.
on my agenda. It just came up, and I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about it. What did you understand about sex back then, and how was your understanding of it kind of changed now? I know Luke and I were talking about how in the movies they're even if they're gay.
Can I just get one gay hookup scene in a movie?
No.
Please. It's always the lesbians.
Speaking of that,
But even if they are gay, it's never you never see any of the work that goes into it. They just get straight to it, and it's like that is not how it works. And so
Right.
Even
is
some
that-
gay men though don't
Yeah, no.
understand
I
that
agree. Yes.
like I dated a guy the first time I came here, and apparently he did not know because, well, first off, we never like got down there. He always would avoid it, and I was like, well, this is weird. Like, okay.
Uh-huh.
And then like years later, somebody was like, well, he always said that it smelled weird, and I was like, what? Sex has a smell, but it's not. It's kind of like a gym. It's not. What?
It's like a
Yeah.
sex smell.
So then I put two and two together, and I was like,
Oh.
oh, he didn't realize that, like, there's an hour of prep work. You plan your whole
No,
meal
yeah,
plan
like,
for the
Oh
week
my
around
God.
this
Don't
one
you
day.
worry. I took care of it.
A meal plan
Yeah.
or oh my gosh.
Yeah, you can't go and eat Chipotle, girl, or, like, Taco Bell. God forbid you eat Taco Bell.
Oh my god.
No.
Fuck.
And then it takes at least, like, 30 minutes.
No, it's definitely there is prep work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but did you guys date in high school? Did you
No.
date men
Oh,
in
yeah.
high school?
I was
you
a
did?
hoe.
Right.
Okay, but you didn't.
no, I
Jaren.
didn't date anyone. I've only had one boyfriend, and I'm currently still with him. So.
Okay.
Aw.
But Cam, did you?
I tried to
Okay.
during the summertime, but it didn't work out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's some experience
Attempt-
there.
yeah.
So was there like a big kind of learning curve there for you guys, like as far as the preparatory work, the safety of it, the anatomy of it, the pleasure part of it? What's kind of changed? Like, what have you learned? What did you think was real, and then you were like, no, that's not how things work?
Well, I think gay porn tends to make sex seem, like, way kinkier than it is.
Yeah.
And so you're like,
Yeah.
oh my God, this is what everybody does.
No,
Yeah.
And then you get to it and you're like, oh. And, like, it's easier to watch it than do it. So then, like,
Yeah.
sometimes,
Definitely.
like, I remember when I first, like, started getting sexual in high school, I was like, well, I saw this on the movies, let's do it. And then you get in there and you're like, never mind, I want to back out, I want to go home. and they're, like, pissed off because they're like, I'm into this. And they're like,
Oh no! Oh, wow. like, was it uncomfortable or was it like painful? Like, what was different about it that you thought was gonna be?
I don't really, I think the problem was I didn't really know what I thought it was going to be.
Okay.
Like, you watch it and you're like, oh yeah, but then, like, it's like watching a mugging and then being mugged. It's like,
Two different things.
you're like, this is nothing like the movies.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
like, my first, like, real hardcore sexual experience was with somebody much, much older. He was, like, 52, and I was 16.
I apologize for my facial
Now everybody has that. My mom had a better one.
Oh,
It's just like you were, I don't know. Like,
I just I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
like it was a shock because I was
wow.
with somebody that like had been around
Oh,
the
yeah.
block and knew exactly what
Have
was supposed to do.
experience, yeah.
And I knew
but you
nothing. And he
didn't.
was like, "You mean you didn't do this, this, and this?" And I was like, "How do you even do that?"
Oh, like
where
with
do you
prep
buy
work and
this stuff?
Okay. So
Yeah,
is
like-
he kind of who you learned from? How to?
Not really, because he
Manage
was just kind of
yourself,
like,
or-
"Well, get out."
Oh.
Because I was like,
no.
"Well, I can't do that." So then it was kind of like, "Okay, well, I'm just gonna Google," and then
Yeah.
I learned a lot taking human sexuality.
Oh, yeah,
So it's just kind of like piecing it together by myself, but like
yeah. A lot of it is.
it takes one
By
embarrassing
yourself.
moment. It's like
Yeah,
your
for
friend
sure.
calling you out on that spelling test and being like, "Girl, you didn't know how to spell because," and then you remember how
And
to
then
spell.
you read the dictionary the next night.
Yeah, you're like, "Girl, I got this down."
yeah, yeah. I can definitely test to. It's definitely a self-taught thing or deal, because when you said human sexuality, was that a class you took here, or was that in high school?
No, I actually was gonna be a sex therapist. I'm like one
Ooh.
class away
Same,
from being
I was
one.
gonna-
so-
Are you gonna finish and just run
no,
that out?
no.
I learned they make what, and
Oh,
my lifestyle
gotcha.
costs what? No.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely that was. I mean, because in my high school they weren't gonna teach you. It was abstinence based because we're in Kansas, so they're not gonna teach you about safety. They're gonna teach you how to not do it. They're gonna teach you what's gonna happen if you do it wrong, but they're not gonna teach you how to do it right. And they're definitely not gonna talk about pleasure and how it works and how to not hurt them.
Yeah.
Especially if it's the first time. And they're definitely not going to talk about the gays and how to do it safely for, like, even if it's just straight anal sex, they're not
Yeah.
going to talk about it.
Which is so not fair. I can
Yeah.
tell you how straight people have sex.
No,
Yeah.
yeah.
And let me tell you, they don't
absolutely.
know struggle.
Yeah, yeah, and it's just not something that's ever addressed. And so I did absolutely have to teach myself those things. And I'm still learning, you know, like, because nobody is going to dare stand up in front of a bunch of teenagers here in Kansas and tell them the truth about
Yeah.
Especially
sex.
now, everybody gets offended by
Yeah.
the dumbest,
Yeah.
littlest things.
Yeah. So what was your guys' kind of experience with sex
Um,
before and versus now?
Well, I was lucky enough to have started high school in Las Vegas, so it was very progressive.
Good. Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Mhm.
Okay. Oh yeah,
Um,
Las Vegas. Okay.
Yeah. So
Sin City.
I think the person that ended up teaching us like health, like sex ed, was gay. I believe. I obviously don't know because it never came up, but she seemed it. But she was cool. I liked her. I think she might have even handed us condoms at the end of like us talking about it. I do feel like we didn't like a lot of it was just like it was obviously they only taught us about straight sex and just like condoms and stuff like that. And there probably was other stuff that I don't remember about the vagina, but
Same.
yeah, there was a lot of parts. But I thought it was a pretty good thing. As far as like gay sex though, a lot of it was just like I have questions that I personally need answered before I get into this. And then it was me doing some Googling and figuring stuff out.
Yeah, a lot
And-
of Googling.
yeah, I was
A
like,
lot of Googling. Thank God for I don't know
'cause
how people
yeah.
did that when they were teenagers before
Yeah.
Google. I don't know how they
They-
figured
Was
it
there an
out.
encyclopedia to like dildos? or
Probably
something?
not.
You're
Probably
right.
not.
That's a good
I
question.
don't know how they did it. A
That's
lot
why
of
there's
trial
so
and
many
error.
straight people versus gay people now.
Because
Because they don't know.
just-
Because like,
yeah,
if
it
I
was
try, I don't know what I'm.
hard.
I know.
It was
I know
hard,
straight
yeah.
sex better, so I'm just gonna stick
Yeah, they
with
didn't
that.
have Google.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, I
Wow.
learned the
Thank God for
act of gay
Google.
sex through porn, and then I was like, I have questions about this, and then I would do all my Googling.
You
Yeah.
wouldn't talk to your friends about it?
No, I was a very like not sexual person at all.
Are you still? Like when it gets brought up, are you awkward about it?
No, I'm not awkward. I just don't bring it up normally, but I'll talk about it, sort of thing.
I'm
So.
surprised it didn't come up at Haps that one time.
It did it. I think I'm a lot better than I was before. And it
About
might have
talking
just,
about sex?
Yes, and it might have just been because before I haven't had sex, so it was like, what am I gonna talk about?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just now I'm more comfortable with it. I just don't bring it up normally. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What about you, Cam?
In high school, I only did oral sex. I never did anal sex or anything like that. So I had an oral sex experience junior year with a friend, a classmate, And then another oral sex experience with another classmate. Yeah. But I never really became sexually active until I came here to Fort Hays. And I started to experience on Grindr, anal sex, and all of that. And the first time I tried it, it was painful. I did not like it. Like I was on my back, and he was entering me, and then I got kicked him, and yeah, it was bad.
Oh,
it was
no.
bad. I
Oh,
was like, get off, it hurts.
Oh,
Yeah,
That brings
no.
more prep work. Like,
Oh no!
Yes,
Wow.
had you known.
and so after a while, you just learn on
Yeah.
yourself, and like gay porn doesn't help, of course, no,
No,
because they just
yeah.
like
Because they just stick it
They
in.
do. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
and they
don't
always
even-
have the biggest penises. That's the
Yeah.
biggest letdown.
Yeah.
Is you learn like that's not what a dick size is.
You're right.
Like especially
Honestly.
if you're like more well endowed, you're like, yeah, that's normal. And then you start dating a bit, and you're like, what
What
the
the-
is that?
Yeah.
It's like interesting. Takes a note. Like I'm gonna see how many
Interesting.
people have
I'm
the
gonna,
same size.
I'm gonna collect data on
Yes.
this. Yeah, that's
Conducting a survey.
even in porn. Like it's not like the people aren't preparing. You just don't see it
yeah.
because it's their job, so they can't.
They
You
skip all
can't
that.
watch them. That's not sexy.
Yeah,
you know?
like even they skip
Yeah.
putting on like the condom just appears on them while they're and I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa.
Whoa.
Have you ever paused it and been like,
You
Wait
play
a
my
minute.
brain. Yeah, I'm like, you did have it on in this one, and then you go straight to this, and it's
Yeah.
Wait
there.
a minute, hung solo. That clever porn joke.
No, yeah.
Good one.
Jesus.
But yeah, I actually, it's funny because when you said you remember some things about the vagina, and I was like, same. Actually, not same. I was so into it. I was so like fascinated
just
by
the
the
vagina or everything?
the vagina in particular. I really, honestly, glazed over when we went over the penis. in
Honestly,
sex
that's
ed
fine.
class.
There's not a lot you need
Glazed
to know.
Yeah, it was seems so
Yeah.
simple.
Very
I was like-
simple.
I
You
was like,
look
what
at
a-
it, it stands
Oh.
up.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean-
Wait, it does-
Yeah, and
it gets
but I'll
hairy around
tell-
13.
Oh, no.
There you go.
Oh, man. I
Everything
will
you need.
tell women my age now, and sometimes older, I'll tell them that the clitoris is actually also internal, and it's about the size of a penis inside. A hard
It's
penis
kind of
inside.
odd how many women don't.
And they don't know it.
No,
And
I
they're
don't
like,
know that.
what? It's
when
inside?
I educate a woman, there's a
Yes.
problem.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's because it's not, you don't
Yeah.
go over it. In sex ed class, the only thing they really go over is the vulva, which is the outer part, which is, things like
Yeah.
the outer, the hood and the outer clitoris and
So
the
wait,
labia.
where
and
is
stuff.
it?
It's inside. So
But
it's just,
where?
It's,
Isn't all the room
it's part of
taken
your
up by, like,
organs.
Oh.
It's
On the
it's
room
an
taken
organ.
I was like,
back.
isn't all the room taken up by like your intestines and stuff?
No.
All right, that's fair.
Nah, they got a mansion in
There's
there.
a lot
You're
in
right,
there.
because you
There's a
hold
lot in
children.
there.
Yeah, you guys.
Mhm.
Is there more space in there than there is in ours? Like our body?
What do you mean?
I just feel like
More space?
like I don't know. I
Well,
don't know.
you guys don't have a uterus.
That's
so
also true. So
You're not going to have that space.
And our, like, the female's thing is really just a penis is a vagina that fell out.
all right, that's fair. You're right. That is true.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And the clitoris it's only nerves. That's all that's in there. And
Got you.
so there's literally no other purpose for the
Yeah.
clitoris other than sexual pleasure. It's it. But they don't talk about it. And nobody talks about it. And
Didn't
when I
know that.
tell women that, and I'm like, did you know that actually it's also an internal organ? There's an outer part too, clearly, that's also filled with a bunch of little microscopic nerves. There's actually more inside that little thing than there is in the entire head of the penis, by the way. So
Oh.
lots of pleasure.
Well, that
And women
explains those
don't know
little
that.
double
Yeah.
shotgun looking thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
He's doing the finger. For the listeners can't see, he's doing the finger thing when he does that.
Jesus.
Yes, that's
Yeah, the
so.
little-
I think you're talking
like
about the
an
G
L.
spot. Yeah,
And then you're like, what? Outside and inside?
it's
Yeah.
yeah. Well, it's not like in the vagina. It's like inside. It's hard to explain.
And that's
kind
what I'm
of where it
saying.
is.
There's so many different
Yeah.
pockets and holes, and it's like, well, where is it? It's
Yeah,
not
it's
in the
in there.
vagina,
It's in
but
there,
it's
and it's
there.
in
And then it
Plants.
all gets covered up by hair. You can't even see nothing. You're going in blind with a machete.
But yeah, I thought it was so fascinating, and I would research it and I would look at it just because I liked knowing. And as a high schooler, I knew more about my own body than most of.
Oh, yeah.
I dated a couple girls in high school. They didn't know anything about because it's
Yeah. I feel like if I
talked
had one,
about.
I definitely would want to know what exactly
going
it is.
on in
Like
there.
just what it is.
Yeah, for
in
most
general.
women, it's a mystery.
That's what
I
I'm
wouldn't say
saying.
most
With
women.
it,
For
like-
too,
I can't
for
imagine
too many women, it is a mystery.
having like
Yeah.
that part of my body be such a big part of my body and not
Yeah.
knowing
what it can
what it
do,
is,
what
what
it's for.
part. That's
yeah.
I couldn't do that. I would
Well,
have to
have
know
you guys
more.
noticed like how many straight people don't actually know that much about sex? Like,
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I've noticed that.
what do you guys do?
And it's not just, because while we're talking about sex, we're also talking about the organs,
Yeah.
which goes into it, which they're the main players. So it's
Mhm.
important, but people know so little
Yeah.
about what they can do and what they're for, what's kind of unhealthy to do to them. A lot of women will, I don't know how it is now, but I remember when I was a teenager especially, I didn't even know this, and I learned it, and I was like, oh, God. Women will, when they're taking showers, when they're cleaning themselves, they'll use soap to
Mhm.
clean their vaginas, and actually that makes it unhealthy because the vagina cleans itself.
'Cause it's
And so when
acid.
you put soap
Yeah.
in there, it messes it up.
Wait,
and it
but
messes
there's
up
soap
its process.
for your vagina.
And that's terrible for women. It's
Oh, there you go.
terrible. You're talking about douches. They're terrible
No,
for
there's
women.
like feminine wash,
That's terrible.
Vagisil or something.
It's the only thing women should be using for their vaginas is water.
Because doesn't it like mess
if
up like
that.
their pH balance, which is like
Yeah,
That's
it
what I'm
messes,
saying.
it
I
messes
hear.
up.
That's what
it
I'm saying.
messes up because
Like,
the body has a natural way
yeah,
of doing
like
it, and
it-
so when you try to mess
mess
with
it
it and
in,
put
yeah.
chemicals in it, it's
and it
just
messes
so
it
unhealthy
up.
for it.
The fact that it has its own pH balance means that we like I feel like the fact that that's a thing, it
Yeah.
definitely should be talked about
Yeah.
because there's science in there that people
it seems
with
like
it would
Stranger
know.
Things. Like sometimes I don't want to
No,
mess
Yeah.
with.
honestly, same. It
It's-
spews acid in my opinion. That's
Yeah,
how it cleans,
like
that's
it
how
is
it
its
cleans
own
itself.
body.
yeah,
And it's like down there.
and women get confused and
Yeah.
scared of it,
I
and then
would.
not to mention on top of that, people are really, I don't know how to put this. People hate vaginas. They just do. It's just
Yeah, even
American
girls.
society. Yeah,
No, yeah.
American society hates vaginas. Hates them.
So
because
straight
they're-
men have something wrong that they love down.
I mean, look.
It's an issue. I agree. I agree. It's an issue, but it's important because when we want to have safe sex, when we want to
Yeah.
make love to people we love, even if you don't love them, like it's important to stay safe. But then we come into it with so little knowledge.
Yeah.
Even still, I don't know everything that I probably should know by now.
And do you ever
know?
like? I feel like we're always learning.
Yeah, of course you're always learning, and science is always discovering things that are new. But it's funny that the information is out there, and
Yeah,
we
you
can reach
just
it.
don't
It's in
know.
our pockets,
Yeah.
but we're clueless.
Yeah.
It's insane. And I would extend that, to the penis as well. I mean, I'm not just vaginas, but,
Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably something out
That's
there.
a whole other show we can talk
Yeah.
about.
You're absolutely
And tune in
right.
next week where we go
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
penis.
The penis. That's just gonna be the
10-minute show.
Yep.
And that's it, folks. Well,
and then like the next one is the vagina.
Vagina.
It's like 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Amazing. How's it going, Cam?
8:30.
Okay. 8:30. Okay, cool. Good. What time is it now? 8:10. Okay, cool. We got time. A little bit. Okay. So, how did your guys' first Jaren, you're in the first relationship now that
Yes.
you okay, so he's your first
Mhm.
relationship. Okay. So
Does he go here?
no.
he does not.
You're
Well, we
lucky.
gonna need to see some receipts after.
Alright, we-
Let your best friends be in on it.
Okay. All right.
So, how did those first, if they weren't relationships, that's okay, just any kind of interaction, how did those first kind of interactions with men go? Even if it wasn't sexual, just kind of romantic feelings towards men or just kind of interacting. And because I feel like it's tricky, especially as a teenager, especially as a gay teenager, because you can't assume anybody's flirting with you.
Yeah.
But sometimes people will be, but you can't assume because it's dangerous. It's literally dangerous to assume and then be wrong.
Yeah.
So, how did you guys deal with that? You were nodding very passionately when I was saying that. So obviously you experienced that kind of thing. So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I know there's. Get ready for another phase.
All right.
My first sexual experience was the summer in between like 5th and 6th grade
Okay.
with the neighbor boy. And
Oh.
like, I'm somebody that you can totally, like, you could bring me flowers and I still won't think you're into me. Like,
okay.
so it kind of.
Because you don't notice it or because you don't believe it?
Well, like, I just kind of am like, oh no. And like, God
Okay.
forbid
Yeah.
you're wrong.
Yeah.
And like, I had a lot of like, and I have more now, a lot of like straight guy friends, and you're like, that line is kind of blurry of like, what's okay, what's not okay, is he joking with me, is he not, does he like me, or is he just nice? So then like I thought that was how this kid was, and then all of a sudden one night he just like made moves, and like I had never watched porn or anything, so I didn't know, so I was just like, this is normal.
Yeah.
And then as an adult you're like, oh god, I was messing it up.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is normal because, that's going to happen. Like, even if I had a roommate who she didn't have her first kiss, and she's also gay. She didn't have her first kiss until she was our age now.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, and she's 26 now. And so even if you're not a kid, it's those first learning experiences, they're always going to be clumsy, You're always going to look back and be like, God, I wish I know what I know right now, but I didn't, And so what about you guys? What was that like? And then I want to get into a little bit what we mean by it's dangerous to be wrong.
For me, it was there's one person in particular that comes to mind because honestly, I hate him because he knew what he was doing, and darn him. This is in
Oh, no, you're fine.
middle school. It was science class. I don't know what grade it was, but he used to sit right behind me, and he would like whisper in my ear and like blow in my ear and stuff, and I'd be like,
He was into
no,
you.
and look,
He was like, hey, daddy.
and I was like, can you cut it out? And I would like turn around and be like, stop that. And he would just keep doing it. But I was just like, all right.
You hit him up all these years later?
No,
as your
I did
boyfriend?
not. No.
You're like, that was so sweet back in sixth
No,
grade.
I was just like, I feel like he knows what he's doing. He has to. Because why are you in my ear halfway through class? Like, get out. I'm trying to focus. But that's more so like the main thing. And like I did a lot of sports like all throughout middle and high school. So like I always had like straight guy friends. And it is like it can get blurry. It's like what is and what isn't okay. Luckily they were all like pretty cool. Like they weren't at least outwardly homophobic or like proud about it enough that I would know, which was great. But I don't know. It's still a little weird sometimes.
Junior year, like me and the guy, like we added each other on Snapchat, and then we were flirting over it, and then he was like, come over, and I'm like, okay, send me your address. And so then I lied to my mom. I was all like, yeah, he wants me to spend a night at his house, like nothing much. And then at night we're gonna do the act. And so so we're literally laying there naked, of course, and we're not talking at all, and we're just like typing over Snapchat
Together?
Yes, laying next to
Like
each other.
side by side,
Yes.
still Snapchatting each
Yes,
other?
it was
No.
awkward. It was
Oh.
so awkward. Yes.
My.
What were you talking about?
We were like, so what do you want to do? And like, he's like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, we'll do it then. And he's like, you do it first. I'm like, you know what? I'm just tired of this shit. I'm just going to do it. And so then I just did it.
Wow.
Yeah, it was so
Interesting.
awkward.
You're super young, though.
Yeah,
We're-
16. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
Well,
Wow.
Snapchat has really, it's a tool. It's a tool to be
Wasn't
used.
it made for dick pics?
I would assume
Probably.
so.
Or
It
is
had
that
to
just a
have been.
rumor I heard?
I
Like
would
originally?
assume.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure.
I would
I don't
assume the
know.
creators had in mind this is going to be the best nude sending app on the planet.
And it is.
And I think that was a great business strategy. Like they didn't outwardly say it. It was like all your messages are deleted after one use, like sort of thing. I think that was like, so you guys know what to do.
Wink, wink.
Yeah.
That's my experience is actually more similar to yours, Luke, because I was around that age too. Did you say between 5th and 6th grade?
Yeah.
Is that right? Okay,
I
yeah.
was like, it was elementary school.
Yeah. That's about when I first started doing things, but I was doing things with guys. And so
Oh,
I
you
was
were?
yeah, I was
Plot twist.
yeah, I was doing things. I had a friend and God, I hope my mom's not listening.
Hi,
yeah,
Mom.
I was best friends with a lot of guys, especially this one guy in particular. And yeah, it came to that time where we were starting to explore each other's like bodies, and it was just we were super curious and it felt good, so we were doing it. And then like we went to Catholic school, so of course we hated ourselves right after. But then like we would go back to it because we couldn't go to our parents about it. We couldn't ask them things about it. You know,
Yeah.
we couldn't we didn't know because we had no education on it whatsoever, which is pretty young to be having an education. But again, those feelings were still coming up and weren't being addressed, so we were just kind of going with whatever we felt. And then in high school, I didn't have any sexual experience with guys, and I didn't have any sexual experience with girls either until I dated my first like serious girlfriend when I was a senior. And by that time I was old enough and I'd done enough learning by myself pretty much that it wasn't hard. It wasn't even really that awkward, it just kind of, I don't know if people used to tell you once you get started you just kind of know what to do instinctually, and that was true but also because
you read
I'd
a textbook
educated
about
myself.
it. Yeah,
I was ready, but yeah. And then when I was a freshman in college, I dated a guy that I was good friends with again, and he's still a really good guy, and I loved him. Not like love, but like I very much trusted him, and that's why I kind of chose him. And so we had sex, and oh my God, it was so painful. I hated it so much, and the reason I was doing it was a really shitty reason. I was doing it because I felt like, okay, now I have to prove to myself that I'm either with dudes or not. Like, it felt like all those rules and expectations people had been putting on me since I would come out to them as bi. Now I had internalized that, and now I was putting that on myself. And now I was saying, okay, Carson, pick, Like, before when I was in high school and someone said that to me, I said, fuck off. But now I'm saying it to myself. So I dated a guy because I felt like I had to. Yeah. And so, of course, the sex was terrible. And I felt so... and he wasn't really... I don't think he was really aware that those were kind of my intentions. He was really kind of a test run. And that wasn't fair. Yeah. I know, and it wasn't fair to him. And I did break up with him soon after that because it wasn't fair to him. I wasn't enjoying myself. Like, it just wasn't working. But lots of respect for him. He was great. He was great. I mean, we wouldn't have made it like as a couple, but it was okay because, he did give that to me, and I wish that what I know now, I would probably tell freshman Carson, like, you don't have to do that. Like, you can say who you are and not have to prove it to yourself or to other people. And so that's kind of been my experience. But yeah, sex has never been like super hard like to understand since then, like since kind of teaching myself through middle school and high school. It hasn't really been that hard to figure out. I'm in a long-term relationship now with a woman, and sex is always going to be... Do you guys feel like sex is kind of different with like each person you're with? Kind of like it's never
especially if you're with like... I was a hoe. I went through that hoe phase, so I'm like, I know my way around you. I know what to do. So, like, then dating a guy that's, like, it's like if I got with somebody who was, like, with one person, they are going to be like, what the hell? And I'm going to be like, girl, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
They're going to be like fifth grade us and be like, I'm broken.
Yeah, I mean, sex is, it's definitely going to be different. Sex is definitely different with the woman I'm with now, and, like, I'm still learning stuff. Like I said, like, still new things are coming up, and sometimes, nobody likes to say this, sometimes sex is really boring, or it's really gross, or it's really uncomfortable. And sometimes that's...
Well, why is there such a, like, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like there's such a stigma or something on it that people, like, don't want to explore and don't want to, like, admit, like...
That sometimes sex is weird.
Well, yeah, there's some stuff that even I judge myself, and I'm like, Luke, you something is wrong.
But you're right.
Like, just like, what's wrong, and what's wrong with like talking to your friends about it and being like, hey, girl, like,
quick question.
I feel like I can do that.
Is this normal?
Did you do that?
Is this what it smelled like?
Should I be worried?
Do I need to go to the doctor? I think I broke my penis.
Oh my god. Yeah, I totally agree. That it's so, because with all of these expectations of sex, one of them is definitely it has to work. It has to be pleasurable. Nothing can jiggle. Nothing can smell. Nothing can look weird. It has to all be great
and
all
you
the
have
time.
to use just those parts.
And you have to
So
use
many
just
people
those
just
parts.
use
No.
just my part, just my special area.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you're like, no, girl, open that drawer right there.
Yeah, you're
No,
right.
yeah.
You're right. I agree. People are afraid to explore it and
No.
to be
But,
real
like,
with it.
why? I don't remember a part being like, don't have sex. Don't talk about sex with your friends. It's just
No.
always been that, like,
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's kind of America's kind of retained this Puritan part of us that's been around since we colonized
Yeah.
America. So I think that's just kind of stuck with us, and it's just kind of part of our culture is to
And
is
I
to
know,
be afraid
like,
of sex.
speaking on that, because I ended up doing research for a presentation I gave last year about just, like, LGBT representation in the media and, like, movies and stuff. And while I was doing that, I guess, like, when, like, America was first starting to make movies, it was, like, dirty and gross and like, it was so perverted and disgusting. But then the Catholic Church came in and was like, look, y'all need to clean it up.
they
And
ruined it for
Look,
all
and
of
then
us.
yes, they like printed out like this basically like Bible, like what we don't want to see, and if any of this stuff is in your movie, we'll put it on like this list and we'll hand out to all the Catholic people and be like, don't go see this. And most of the people living in America at the time were all Catholic, so then they like I think there was one that was like there can't be like a gay person like as a hero or anything in your movie, like stuff like that. And there was like a lot of stuff that
That's why
pertained
we're
to
always the
That's
best
sick.
friends.
I
No,
was gonna
yes.
yeah.
And that's
okay,
why-
Always
that
the
still
best, we're never the
applies.
main
No, yeah,
person.
It
and
still
Always the best
you guys
applies,
should look it up. But there are a lot of rules just
Wow.
about sex, and because it was like dirty and like
Nasty.
yes, and there was like even like some gay stuff in it, but it was all over the place. And then the Catholic Church is like, here you go.
Oh,
This is
man.
the rule
Fun
book,
killer.
please. Yeah, and then that's when they cleaned it up. And then obviously it's not a thing anymore, but it still
Wow.
sticks around.
I mean, I still get uncomfortable with like sex scenes in
Yeah,
movies.
you know, it was.
Especially if you're with your parents. You're like, Mom,
Oh,
close your
yeah.
eyes.
Oh, my mom and I
Yeah.
would watch True Blood together.
Oh,
Is that like super sexual?
Ooh.
there's
Every
boobs,
episode.
I think.
Oh.
Every episode there's sex,
I know there's boobs.
boobs,
That's all.
like
It always gets awkward.
Yeah.
And then I always
Mhm.
make a comment.
I just don't say
I'm just
anything.
like, I'm with my
we
parents
looks
right
down at the
now.
ground.
yeah, we stay silent.
Ground.
We're just like enduring it together. We're just like
Yep.
I
Yeah.
just make some comment about like the background to like get off it. Like, man, Mom, look at that ficus in the corner.
I'm like, you want some chips?
I'm not watching sex with my mom. It's fine.
Oh my god, yeah, it
Yeah.
was. Oh my god, so bad. And yeah, I still get. Oh, it's weird. It's just weird just
But
watching.
why
it.
are we like that? Like
I don't
that's
know.
so wrong to
it's,
me.
No,
It's
yeah.
just kind of it's just
We're
our culture.
ashamed
It just,
to say
yeah.
that like, oh, I like this.
Yeah,
Or like,
but I just watched some lady get chopped in half the other day on some horror film that I was watching, and I was honestly more comfortable with that than I probably would have been
Then-
like watching.
which is so weird.
yeah,
It is,
you're right. It was still
because
uncomfortable, but like
You-
I'm more
yeah.
used to it. It's
You can
more
watch
I'm
that
more
with your
familiar
parents
with
without
violence.
being.
Yeah,
Yeah.
without making a
Ficus.
comment
Yeah,
about
exactly.
Ficus.
Like,
I don't even know what ficus is, but look at him all.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm not afraid to make a noise when there's a horror scene or a violence scene, but when there's a sex scene, dead silence.
And why,
No,
whenever
yeah.
you're with
Yeah.
your parents and you you swallow or something, it just sounds like
Yeah,
you're
it's like
stealing cookies at midnight.
It's so loud. You know, like they know I swallowed.
And
Oh
you're
no.
like, do they think I like this? Like,
Oh,
no.
no. Yeah.
It's
like,
always
like your mom's just
Lifetime.
like,
Yeah, it's always Lifetime because my parents are like Lifetime
God.
addicts, and so
Oh.
you're always like two heteros, and like of course he's like attractive. So then you're like, well, do they think I like it?
Yeah. Wow.
Don't be too gay. Like,
No, yeah.
Sex is awkward, and that's probably why that like goes into everything we're talking about too, about how it's not talked about, you know, pleasure versus pain and hurting
Yeah.
somebody, even though it might feel good at the time, you know, being safe. All of that is wrapped up in the fact that our culture just has a really hard time getting over those stigmas, those kind of imposed rules about how it's going to be in our society. We're still not over it.
No, yeah.
You know, and like as comfortable as I am with sex now, I can talk about it. I can get real personal, even though it makes my partner really uncomfortable when I talk about it with other people, but I can do it. But I still get uncomfortable watching a fucking movie
No,
with
yeah.
sex in it. You know, that doesn't make any sense at all.
even like Easy A makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah,
And
really.
they're not even having sex; they're literally faking sex, and I'm like, this is so awkward.
This- yeah, yeah. yeah, it's crazy.
That's a
It's
whole other
crazy.
show.
Yeah, easy.
Right.
We'll be back
egg.
next week to talk about sex.
For real, yeah. Are there any issues of I've been hearing about this not as much lately, but it kind of blew up, I feel like, last year and the year before. Are there issues of misogyny and racism and transphobia in the gay men community?
Not to
yes.
seem stupid,
Yes.
but what is misogyny?
Hatred of women. So, like, hatred of anything. And, like, for example, if a man were to say no femmes, like,
Yeah.
calling other
Oh,
men.
girl, that's
Yeah.
a typical
Yeah.
Grinder bio.
Yeah, that's
no
what it
fats,
said.
no femmes, no Asians. That's like
Wow.
every other
Yeah,
day.
no.
No
They're getting-
fats? What?
Yeah, no
Yeah.
fats. Gay people, okay, we're
Yeah.
the worst.
No,
at body
we
shaming.
we have an image in our head, and
Oh my
it has to be that. We're
you
men
can be
still,
too
yeah.
skinny, too buff. Your abs you can literally have like an 8-pack, and people be like, your abs are fucked up.
No,
Like,
yeah,
you're not
they'll say that
attractive.
it doesn't look right or something, and
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Wow.
Or they don't take into account
extremely
like,
particular.
yeah, I have a belly, but I also work out a lot, so I'm like, I weigh more than like
Yeah.
you, who is really skinny.
Just
People don't
bones.
take into account that like I might work out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
They're just like, he's fat, you're skinny, you're what we want.
Wow.
Yeah.
What
It's
about
pretty
racism?
Also,
Yeah,
yes.
No
A lot.
blacks.
No blacks, no, or they'll say I prefer like white or
Yeah.
something else
I
only.
used to prefer a lot.
yeah.
Yeah, my preference is not black guys. Like, I only
Stuff
talk
like
to
that.
white guys or, like, Asian guys or, like, yeah.
As if that doesn't make it offensive.
No, yeah, yeah.
No
Or,
offense,
like, not to be
but-
offensive.
and there's all,
Yeah.
like it's either that or it's like only black people or like
Yeah,
it,
like
it
we're
gets weird and I'm like,
fetishized.
oh, like they're when
Like
I
black
first,
people are their
yeah, like when I was
Yeah.
first on Grindr, they'd be like, oh, I've never been with a black person or da da da, and they'll say
No,
something
you're
like
not
that.
going for
And
it.
I was like, I didn't need to know that.
Yeah.
This made this a whole lot weirder. Now you're gonna keep me in a basement somewhere. I'm
Oh my
not
gosh,
doing this.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What about transphobia?
Oh yeah, my friend,
Yeah.
my friend kind of experienced that. No, he was like saying that to me, like, guess we saw someone on a Grinder, and he identified as she, and then he was saying, oh, I don't want to hook up with that, like, kind of offensively, like.
Your friend said that?
Yeah, and
About-
he's gay
okay.
himself. Yeah, about someone on the Grinder page, but yeah.
I think there's a lot,
Wow.
like, I think gay people are more like, we went through that, like, oh, like, we were the hot new handbag to have, like, do you have your
Yeah.
GBF? And now
Mhm.
it's like trans people are coming into the scene.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think gays, myself included, are, like, educated.
Yeah.
Like, do you still have a vagina? Is it okay if I play with it, even though I'm into dudes? Like,
Mhm.
No, yeah.
Like, am I still gay even though I?
Yeah, there's no,
Yeah,
like,
they don't know where they
etiquette
stand.
thing.
Yeah, on that.
like
yeah.
I know the etiquette with a man, and
Yeah.
Sure,
there's
yeah.
not any with them, so they kind of get
Yeah.
the shaft.
So that's a good point about how there's not really a whole lot known about how any of that works with trans men or trans women, you
Yeah.
know. So what is your guys' take on that? Would you ever date a trans man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would?
I think I could.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to, like, get some more research on it and, like, understand it more before
Yeah.
I jump into something. But I think I would be, though.
Yeah.
definitely would be.
You'd want to understand.
Yeah,
kind of where they're
understand,
coming
like, how
from,
do
at
you like
least.
to be pleasured and.
Okay.
No, yeah, there would. Yeah,
Yeah.
there would definitely have to be a talk because I
Yeah.
wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Especially like if they did have like a vagina. I didn't even know there was something on the inside. There's so much that I would
Yeah.
need. Like I'd be like, okay, I'll be back, and I would.
I'll be back.
Because I'm like,
Yeah.
I want to be good at my job. I have to do some. That's what I'm saying. Like I want to make sure that I'm like, yes, I'm the best you've ever had.
Yeah.
I have to go do some research and figure stuff out.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they would have to be the right one, because I feel like so many people now get so offended
Yeah.
by, like,
Yeah.
even, like, I just don't know that much about it. So I feel like I'm the type of person to just bluntly, like, I'll just bluntly say it, like, girl, you got a vagina? Like,
Mhm.
that's weird. What do I do with that?
But-
And then,
Yeah.
like, you know, somebody's going to get offended because I said it was
Yeah.
weird when I didn't mean, like,
No, yeah.
It's
like,
weird.
You
It's
didn't
just,
mean,
like,
ugly. You
unusual.
mean like
Yeah.
unfamiliar.
yeah.
And I would need to know before it happened too, because
Yeah.
if I was surprised, I would not know what to do with it at all. I'd be
Yeah.
like, oh.
Yeah, and don't get offended when I poke it, because I'm probably going to poke it to see if it bites
What?
me.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I wouldn't know. I'd be like, oh Jesus,
Spits
this
acid.
got 10 times more difficult than I
Yeah.
previously thought it would be.
It's interesting that you guys automatically bring up the genitals part, because that is what we're really talking about, and
Yeah.
and people won't bring that up.
Because
They'll
as
just
people
say-
that I can love them, and like
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
I couldn't. I don't know what to do.
I will say
Yeah.
that I've talked about this with my old roommate, and she said that she had dated a trans man before, and it wasn't a big deal. But I said I don't think I could, because especially I don't think people take into account when people say I don't want to date a trans person, they don't ask why.
Yeah.
And so if there's a difference between somebody who says, like, for example, in my case, it's more like my anatomy does not like it. It's painful and I can't do it. And so, and even if there's some potential for me to like it, I don't think I should have to push myself to make myself figure it out. Because that was already a mistake that I made, you know, was making myself try it just to make sure that I didn't like it. You know, that's not, I've already learned that lesson, you know. And so, but there's a difference between that and, because, you know, I don't know, something transphobic, like, because trannies are gross, you know, that's so different. You know, you have to understand why somebody doesn't, or somebody, you know, prefers just what's in their pants, because it doesn't matter to people like me, and to some people it doesn't, you know. So some people it is just a love thing, it's just a relationship thing. If I'm into you, I'm into you, and we'll figure the rest out. For me, the genitalia and the genitals is such a big part of it, is such a big part of sex for me. I can't, like, we'd have to figure something else out, because I don't want to do that, you know. And so it's not a trans thing. It's even if the person weren't trans, let's say they're intersex or something, that's still something I'd be nervous about, you know.
Definitely.
And that's a reasonable concern that I feel like people are kind of scared to bring up, because they're scared of being labeled transphobic.
Yeah,
you
like
know?
trans people are like, I honestly legit, like, trans people are cute.
They
cute.
They
and like sometimes I
like men.
No, that's what I'm like, ooh. I'm like,
like that one guy on the cover of Men's Health a couple years back. That the whole
that's what
world was
I'm
like,
saying.
hey, daddy.
Yeah.
Like like trans people are good looking. I would just like I would have to do a lot of research.
Of course.
And I'm not as educated as I need to be to put myself in that situation, but I would definitely date one.
It's still kind of a new thing too. Everybody's kind of learning about it still, and that's fair. And you know, I feel like the trans community is trying to reach out and educate us so that we're not stuck behind this wall of, I don't know, it just freaks me out, so I'm not going to go near it, you know. And so it's important. It's important to, the education part that you guys bring up is definitely valid. I think so.
Well, and like, I don't know about you guys, but don't you feel like when I was a kid and growing up, it wasn't until like a year ago when everybody started getting easily offended or like feeling like, well, that's not okay, you need to call me what I am. And they started adding all these letters. I don't even know what I am. Like LGBTQXZ, like, what are these? I don't even know what the like proper community name is.
Yeah. That's a good point. I feel the same.
I feel lost in my own sexuality.
Yeah, because a lot of it has now become, it's controversial now. It's called, what you're talking about is identity politics. And it's when it's this new kind of trend where there has to be a specific name for each and every individual's unique sexuality.
Yeah.
And I think it's a problem because it's more divisive, I think, than it is useful. Because sometimes labels are useful, you know, for example, if I'm interested in a woman and she's straight, I need to know that. I need to know, because I don't want to because I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to make her uncomfortable. So labels are important at that point. But I don't need to know. It's not super important to me if you are turned on by my intelligence. Because I know some people are really, like, that's an actual
like
sexuality is, I think it's called sapiosexual. And I've talked about this before a little bit. Who cares? Like,
no, I know,
because
I remember we had a conversation like about just like labels in general.
Yeah.
And like I think it's just because like at least our society is so focused on labels. Like just like we have to like when we go to the doctor, they give us a form. It's basically a bunch of like pick which label best fits you, and we have to like go through. There's like 10 different like things, and I think our society is just so focused on labels, and some of them are important and need to be known, but I think it got to the point where if you were not like on the label, like if I looked on the sheet and I wasn't there, I'm like, well, this is a little messed up. These are so important, and I'm not on here. And then I think that kind of did like a slippery slope type thing, and now everyone's like, well, I need my label.
Yeah.
And they get so offended
if you don't use it. Yeah.
If you don't care, if you don't think it's important,
or
if
you
you
mess
make
up.
a joke.
if you make a joke about it,
Like I dated a guy, and I called Hillary Clinton a lesbian once, and that was the end of him. He left me.
Bye. He left me.
Like, why not just... I don't know about y'all, but I get super offended all the time. I don't leave my room much, so if I leave my room for you, that's like saying something.
Mm-hmm.
If you introduce me as your gay friend...
No, yeah, that's...
All the time. I can... Like, if I had $1, I would not be here right now. I'd be, like, in Beverly Hills.
Oh, my
If I was
goodness.
introduced as, this is my gay friend, not even Luke, just, this is my gay friend.
Like, oh, no.
Not even your name first?
No! And they'll be like, oh, you'll know him. He's gay.
Oh, my gosh.
No, yeah, that's horrible.
Wow.
I'm like, we're going to have to talk about this later.
Yeah.
We're going to have to
I
talk.
don't
We just
think
get
anybody's
I'm not
ever-
an iPhone.
Yeah, I
I don't need
haven't
a
had that
label or a
happen,
box. Like,
I don't like I'm not your friend. Moving on.
And it's so ironic because at first it was, I don't need a label, you know, like
Yeah.
who cares about labels,
Right.
gay, straight, who cares? I don't need a label on it. And now it's like if you don't have a label, you're the weird one.
Yeah.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And you get hella judged.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember actually, I know that you and I, Darren, probably talked about
Mhm.
it, but I had also had some psych people on my show last year, and we talked about it too. And I said, why does it have? Because this is with gender too, not just
Yeah.
sexuality.
Mhm.
And I said, like, why does it have to be so matter of fact? This is what I am. This is what makes me different from all the other women, for example.
Yeah.
Why can't you just be a woman? And then that includes all these things because gender is very broad and open and flexible.
Yeah.
So trying to pinpoint on this one thing is going to get you confused, I feel like, because
Yeah.
it's going to change. It
Yeah.
just is.
Yeah.
So why try to stick a pin in that and say, this is what I am? Just let yourself be and flow. And I
Yeah.
can be a woman and not wear dresses all the time. And guess what? I'm still a woman.
Yeah.
But people don't like that. They're going to say, no, that's gender nonconforming, agender, genderqueer, that's all these things. But it's like, you don't need to put that on me because I just am what I am. I'm not the one who needs that. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
I feel like that's for other people if they need to, if someone really needs to know, are you genderqueer, agender, or, gender nonconforming, like, it's just like, it's so useless. It's
Do you
just
think
so
it's
useless
mostly
to me.
for us or for the heterosexuals?
What do you mean?
Like, are these labels useful for them to label us and say, oh, well, actually, never mind, because I don't think they understand the labels when they dive deeper into them. They have trouble differentiating, like,
I don't think
who is
I don't think it comes from straight people. Is that what you're asking? I don't think it comes from straight
Yeah.
I
people.
think
I
it's just people.
I
Yeah.
think it's people like we're just like we like labels.
Yeah.
Even if you say you don't like labels, you like
Well,
And
labels.
you
it's-
cannot
it's
change
like-
that label.
yeah.
It is permanent
No,
marker.
yeah.
Because if you try to change it, people have a whole issue.
and there's a problem because it does change.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
does. My style has changed so many times since I was, since I could think about it, and so trying to pinpoint it on one thing and calling, oh, that's what I am, and then saying that'll never change. Why would you do that to yourself,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? I don't think it comes from straight culture.
Mhm.
I do think it comes from LGBT culture is what I will
Yeah.
say. Because it happens because it becomes this new kind of self-obsessed way of expressing yourself. It's no longer about just being honest about who you are. Now it's about, this is my label. This is because I'm unique in this way. This is what nuances me from everybody else. You're obviously going to have things that are going to separate you from
Right.
everybody
Oh,
else
yeah.
because nobody's a carbon copy of
Yeah.
anybody else, And so
Yeah.
obviously those things are going to happen, but putting a label on it is just frustrating, and then getting mad at people for not
Not using it,
understanding
yeah.
or not caring is ridiculous.
Yep.
And and I feel like you can't even really say that.
Oh yeah.
Like the fact
Oh
that
my
I'm saying it
gosh,
right now.
They're coming.
You would get-
Once
yeah.
again, you can
If
find
people-
I hear running. I hear her coming outside.
You can find her at 811
Yes.
McMidas.
Get her.
if I had listeners, they would be pissed. I'm positive. But like, you can't. You just can't say, because there's this new stigma that now the LGBT culture is playing into and even perpetuating.
Yeah.
That if you like have a question about something, it's like, well, no,
how
how dare you silence?
How dare you ask that question?
Yeah, they get offended. And then, like, some people are from, like, small towns, or, like, I grew up in a place where it was, like, mostly white, straight, like, conservative accountant types.
Yeah.
So then, like, my gay ass coming in and being like, this is who I am, and I'm asexual, and all they met was, like, this super femme, dress-wearing person.
Yeah.
They get that stereotype that, like, all gay men are this way. And then I come, and they're like, but you're not.
Yeah.
What do you mean? You work out, and you, like to go hiking and stuff? That's not a gay man. Like, you're not gay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, I am.
Yes, I am. I promise.
I can assure you.
Yeah, like, tried and tested, ma'am.
Yeah, that is, I mean, that's exactly what I'm talking about. The whole, yes, I'm a woman, but yes, I'm not.
And it can change.
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
knows?
Absolutely.
Maybe some girl. One time Kylie Jenner totally, like, went there for me. Who knows?
You
Like,
right?
why does it matter?
You
if
right.
it's-
You right.
if
Yeah.
all of a sudden I meet a girl and I'm like, hey, girl.
Who cares? Yeah.
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 Society
it's true.
plays in to gay people more than I think we realize. Or
No, yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
No.
I agree. So what, this is going to be a fun question, I feel like. What is your favorite thing about men? Like, what do you think attracts you the most
Oh,
to them?
God.
Other
Like
than
physically?
their appendage.
Oh.
You can talk about it if you want, but
Like, no, just like physically?
anything.
Like, I see.
Physical, emotional side of it, intellectual side, whatever you want.
Being asexual, I don't get off. Is that vulgar? I don't want to be vulgar. I don't want
No.
to break the rules.
No. It's not a rule. It's not a rule.
Being,
It's-
like, asexual, I don't get off like normal people get off.
yeah. Okay.
So,
What do you mean?
like, I feel like normal people get horny and, like, just want release. I don't get that. I don't get, like, there's no guy out there that I'm like, oh, he's just so attractive. It's just all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I like him on top of me. I don't like boobs on top of me.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know how to say it. Like, yeah. Like, I like the, like
the physical
Presence.
shape and
yeah, it's nothing.
difference.
It's nothing physical that I like appearance wise. It's like, just I like a man.
And yeah, instead
And
of
like
yeah.
and I'm friends with women. I grew up with women. I hung out with my dad was always working, so I didn't really get to do like.
Yeah. Sick and tired of
my
women.
car
Yeah.
and I was best friends with like Charisse, and I don't want to like.
Yeah.
It's weird to me to think of like your best friend and being like, I'm gonna go sleep with her. That's how I feel about women. I'm like, every girl's my best friend.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I don't know.
It's just the physical difference is what attracts you.
Yeah,
most.
it's just one of those where like, I want a man on top of me. I want to lay with a man at night. I want to be the woman-ish. As much as I hate that, because so many straight people are like, who's the man and who's the man? First of all, we're both men.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I want like the relationship of a straight couple, but like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that brings up a good point, because we'll sit here and we'll talk about kind of the difference between the gay community, what we experience, just because of what comes with being gay, which is the society part of it. But there aren't huge differences other than that between being in a gay same-sex relationship versus in a heterosexual.
Yeah, just because the woman tends to like bring the guy dinner or like whatever, people are like, oh, that's the woman's job.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, that's a relationship.
Yeah, that's the job for both people.
That's how they do it. Like,
if I'm growing up
yes.
and you don't hold my hair, you're out the door.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. For me, most of the time, so I'm attracted to a lot of things, but what always gets me is just like them as a person. Because there have been many times like, oh, he's really hot or something, and then like he'll either say something, or normally it's when they talk, and then they end up saying something, and I'm just like, I actually hate you. Like I get annoyed, and I'm just like, you annoy me. I can't believe there was a second where I was like, I could date you. And I'm like, no. And it's normally like something they end up saying, or the way they talk, or so. It's like something like about them, like as a person, not physically, but like either emotionally or something. I'm just like, oh, this is gonna irritate me. And then after that second, they're no longer attractive to me. at all.
Yeah. That's like when I was looking at that
The other girl, and then
and then you were like, she's like 17,
and you're like, she's the actual ugliest person. I was like, no, she didn't say that. She didn't say that, but you did. You were like, you made fun of her.
Okay, no, I didn't.
Yes,
let me tell what happened.
I get it though.
Okay, what happened was.
Beef. Welcome to the Murray Show.
What happened was I saw this girl and she's super cute, and I was like, wow, we're gonna have babies together and get married.
Yep.
And then Jaren was like, she's probably like 16 or 17 because she's in cams. And I was like, oh, you know what? She's not even that cute.
And then she's like, and you were talking about her book bag and her glasses. Carson, and I was like, how do you go from I could have babies with this woman to her book bag too big, her glasses are too big. I was like,
she was just trying to justify it in her head.
No, I guess, and I was like,
I was trying to backpedal. I was backpedaling. You know
what? Never mind. How dare you?
You know what? She's not my type.
Oh man,
because she's a child, and I didn't realize that.
You're right.
But like, I feel like even as gay people, that doesn't that kind of, I don't know if you guys have ever had that, but like people think I'm a creeper just because like I'm gay or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no.
What do you mean?
Well, like my mom and I growing up, we would always hang around like these people and they'd be like, oh, you're going to be a heartbreaker or whatever. You're going to be like, you're so cute. You're going to be a little woman snatcher. And, and
you're gonna be a stalker rapist.
Yeah. And then I would be like, oh,
so
he's gonna grow up and be really cute. And they would be like, oh my god, you like him?
No, yeah, because they associate like
hold on, girl,
pedophiles and stuff. Yeah,
that's
no.
He's just gonna grow up and be attractive.
Double standard.
No, yeah,
wow.
definitely. You're gonna be a woman snatcher. Oh no.
I already hate that. I already hate that people say that to little kids.
No,
you're gonna be a heartbreaker.
Like,
you mean he's gonna be manipulative?
Yeah.
And probably cheat on some people? Is that what you mean?
No, yeah.
Like, what's wrong with just being like, you're gonna grow up and be attractive?
Like,
you're gonna grow up and be good looking. What? Yeah. What's wrong with just saying?
I feel like that sounds better. Actually,
and if they don't say thank you, they're gonna grow up and be ugly.
Yeah. It's like, in fact, I take
Never mind,
back.
Charlie. You're gonna be ugly.
Take it back, those buck teeth. You know what?
You're never gonna go into that. Your book bag and glasses are too big for your face.
I feel like we just undid this whole show.
We did. I'm sorry, but you should not have brought that up because I was like, Carson, and I didn't follow you for that long, and I was like, oh my god. Like, why did you just tear her down like that? She can't even.
It's so funny because she never knew.
She never heard a thing, and I was like,
any Cam's kid watching right now is like, oh my god,
it was me.
Mom, I need a new book bag. I have to check out for like 10 minutes.
Listen, kids.
Oh no. She hates you. Look, your children, and she's bothered by that. You're extremely irritating to her, and it'll never work. It's fine.
I'll never sugarcoat anything.
Amazing.
And if you ask me what I think you look like,
don't. She'll tell you how she really feels about it.
Yeah. Wow.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. What about you, Cam? What is your favorite thing about?
I never thought of this, but like I'm thinking of it now. So I guess like just the protectiveness.
Protectiveness.
Yeah, and like bearing, like he wants to hold on to you and all of that. So yeah, the protectiveness of it all.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
I definitely think I am attracted to people that are bigger than me, like just at all,
just
bigger,
like
either taller or thicker, and because I think it has to do like that protective.
Yeah.
Just like I like to be held, like that's nice.
Yeah.
And if it was like someone my size, it's kind of like. It's like when you get a bunch of like bones and sticks and you try to put them together. It's like someone's poking somebody with a sharp elbow, or it's not the most comfortable. I feel like I'm gonna need some cushion somewhere, and it's not coming from me, unfortunately.
No.
So.
Yeah.
I like that's funny because I generally like women who are smaller. Like I want to be that one, which sucks because I'm tiny.
Yeah.
So it's impossible to find someone like my poor girlfriend. She's like, she's taller than me because she's a good foot or two taller than me, and like she's not a foot taller than me, but she's taller than me. And like it's funny because she'll want to be the little spoon, but like
it doesn't work out.
It doesn't because.
It's like physically, like it's hard.
Yeah.
Because Brett will try to do that, and I'm like, I am very tiny, and if you even roll over wrong, my circulation of my arm's done. I can't breathe. Help me, yes. It's not like it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Physically, like I can't.
Yeah.
But yeah.
There's always one. I feel like that's the point I was trying to make earlier between like who's the man and who's the woman.
Yeah.
In a straight relationship, the dude is like the big
big one,
the
yeah,
protector.
yeah.
Because physically, dudes are usually bigger.
Bigger, yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the
That's right.
woman is like the I want to be protected and take care of you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And there's
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
And we
In
just
the-
said it.
Yeah,
in
in
a gay
just like in
relationship.
relationships in general, I feel like.
Yeah.
And we've just used like him and her because that is the normal one.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
put quotation marks
Mhm.
around that for those that are
But we
listening.
can't get offended by it. 'cause
No,
it's
yeah.
Like,
I don't.
I do find
Yeah.
myself being like, oh, I'm the woman.
Yeah.
'Cause
I
it's
think it just
easier.
gets confused. I think that's just how we as human beings
Stand
understand
it. Yeah.
I don't think it has anything to do with men being, stronger
yeah.
or,
Yeah.
or anything like that. I mean, sometimes physically they tend to be in general stronger, but I don't think that's like a
No.
I think sometimes when you say that out loud, people are like, what do you mean, like the woman? It's like, no, that's just kind of how we as human
Yeah.
beings understand it.
I mean,
It's
look at
okay.
Michelle Obama. My girl's built.
Oh my god.
Like I
She's
like
the big
she-
spoon of-
all the time.
Yes.
My girl she got shoulders for days. Them are just
She has a fine AF husband.
That's
I
what
don't
I'm
think there's
saying.
a person in America that would not like
Honestly,
Obama.
For real,
Ooh.
Barack is the one blushing all the time, though.
well,
like
because
you can tell that
Michelle is
if you want to put it like that, that's fine. Okay, she's the man then, and he's the
She-
one. But it
yes.
doesn't make sense when you say it,
it
like that.
doesn't, no.
But it's what we're saying. It's so we're not necessarily saying, like because when straight people ask who's the woman, you know what they're asking. They're
Yeah.
asking like who takes care of things and
Yeah.
who is the passive
Yeah,
housewife.
submissive. Yeah.
And that's not okay.
But
But, like,
gay men do it
Yeah.
more.
No,
than
yeah.
I feel like.
you, what really?
I feel like it is
ask each
important.
other?
I think it's important
and
because they like I
degrade
need
each
this.
other
Yeah.
for not
being that.
Like I dated a very, 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 very femme dude, and it just didn't work because like, it's like two housewives getting together. Nobody has a job to make money. You know what I mean?
We're two housewives without a house.
You go cook dinner. I'm gonna cook dinner, but okay, who's gonna pay for dinner? Like,
Yeah.
so like gay people are just like,
Like they know what they want. To a
Yeah.
degree where it's
Yeah.
like I want this and I know it's out there and if this is not you, could you please move along so I can then find the person that is this?
yeah, I'd rather just be honest.
Yeah.
They're just like, no femmes.
Yeah, they're very blunt
And
about
they
it.
degrade you for being.
Yes,
if
for-
I had a
that's
dollar
the
for every
thing,
time
yeah.
somebody was like, "You're too gay," I'd be like,
You're not gay enough.
Yeah.
I should say.
that's like 40% of my dating life is like guys just being like, "Nah, you're too gay," and being like, "Oh, okay."
Isn't that
Yeah.
the point?
Yeah,
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
we're in
I
a
mean,
gay
like-
relationship. I should probably be gay.
And it
as
probably
well?
doesn't help we're in
Or at
Midwestern
least
Kansas
into you
either.
as well.
Yes.
Yeah,
God, Hayes. Yeah,
Jesus.
Hayes is the worst gay term. Sorry, Hayes.
I believe it. I believe
Kansas
it.
in
Yeah.
general.
No,
Wichita
Kansas-
Kansas
sucks
is horrible.
for dating.
Not a fan
Kansas,
in
yeah,
my
I could
personal
see that.
opinion.
Yeah,
But
definitely. But at least better than Alabama.
oh,
Dear
it could. You're right. It could be worse.
I've never been there.
That's what I'm saying. It could. They could be. Yeah. They could be out here snatching us up and
Oh my God.
and tying us to fences. You right. It
Yeah.
could definitely be worse.
You too northern for me.
You do, Yankee.
You one of them more than gays.
Oh
One of them
no.
northern gays.
Oh,
You're sweating. It's only
Oh my
85
God.
degree humidity. No.
Do you guys still worry about coming out to new people?
No.
Not at all.
I hate
Yeah.
when people call me
You do?
straight. It's so
You hate when
annoying.
people call you straight?
Yes, I'm like, no, can't you see like I'm talking? I'm like doing my hands like I'm gay, like I'm gay.
Sometimes I felt like, how do you not know? Because I think it was last year. Nathan didn't know I was gay
Uh-huh.
until like I think it was like maybe a couple like days after training because we ended up talking about it for
Mhm.
something. And he's like, yeah, I didn't know you're gay. And I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I don't know what to do. And I'm like, I've gotten to the point where like I don't care.
Mhm.
But it's like, don't assume I'm straight. Also,
Yeah.
please, just because
well,
I feel
that's
like
the default.
yeah, it's like
Unless they prove to you otherwise by their
Yeah.
self-expression, clothes, whatever. The default is straight.
Yeah.
People
I think
assume.
we work so hard to come out that it's like I want to be labeled as gay. Like I want people to know that I am, so
Yeah.
I don't have to keep coming out. And so when
Yeah.
people keep saying,
That's
"Are
good.
you gay or are you straight?"
good
and you're
point.
like, "Now I have to come out again." So we have to come out like
Yeah,
daily,
all the
like on a
time.
regular.
Really?
But like, I don't know about you guys. I get super insecure. Like, I hate going to class. I hate going to Walmart. I won't go by myself. Because it's like, I
Really?
don't want to be, I feel like when I walk in, everybody's staring at me being like, there goes the fag.
Really?
There's that
Oh,
gay
no.
kid.
Is that because of where we are, or just in? You
No,
just
because
always
I
kind of
didn't
had
grow
that-
up here. I grew up
Okay.
up north. Like,
Yeah.
I moved a lot. So, not as much as you, but
Wow.
I have moved a lot. So it's like, everywhere I go, I just get
Yeah.
insecure, and I'm like, I can't buy those jeans because like they're a little
That's too
little
gay.
too
Yeah,
questionable.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So like I don't know. Am I weird?
You're not weird at
I
all.
don't. No, I think that's more of a reflection of your experiences
yeah.
and how unfortunately people have treated you because of it.
Yeah.
Because like, Jaren, do you worry about coming out to people?
Not really, unless they're
Okay.
like my parents or someone
Yeah.
that like I actually
Someone
care.
real close.
And I think
but
it
not
has to
new
do
people.
with like
Yeah.
me moving so much is because like I don't value like because it's like I've never met you before.
Mhm.
I probably will never see you again.
Mhm.
So I don't feel a certain type of way about you feeling a certain type of way about me.
Mhm.
And I think that's helped me with like coming out to new people because I've had to meet a lot of new people. And I was like, yes, my name is this. I used to live here. This is what I like to do, sort of thing. And it's like, and also I am gay. So it's like that's just another thing to
Mhm.
tack on.
Yeah, sure.
Like when the
Um,
techer says, say
yes.
something interesting, and you're like, I'm a
I'm-
big homo.
Oh my god, I love it because when they say tell us something unique about you, I'll be like, most people can't tell until I speak that I am in fact a woman.
That
Plot
and,
twist.
then as you're speaking, everyone's face is, oh my god.
Everyone's like,
You see that one friend to their friend be like, you're such a bitch. You said that
I love it. Oh my gosh. But because like I play around with gender a lot too. And so I do kind of understand where you're coming from about just walking into public places and fearing that people are watching you
Yeah.
and thinking whatever they're
Yeah.
thinking, and even if it's correct, you're afraid of the connotation that's going on in their mind because of that.
Yeah.
you know?
And so many people get so. I'm very open. I don't think anything's that big of a deal. I'm just like, just be honest and say it. And so many people
Yeah.
get so like embarrassed or insecure and they don't want to say it. And so they get pissed off at you and cuss you out for it. And you're like, so it's like, I love getting manicures, but I always tell her no paint, like not even clear, girl.
Mhm.
Because I
Yeah.
get nervous of like, I'm going to offend Dave down the street. Well, I don't even like Dave.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
still-
But
It's
we
still
gotta-
like
yeah.
on you
You're-
to
yeah.
to tiptoe around their feelings.
Feelings,
yeah. And then it
Yeah.
like holds you back as a person.
No, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
for sure. Absolutely. I used to, because when I first got my hair cut, all the time people were mistaking me as a man.
No, yeah.
And like it was offensive to me at first, and then I was like, this is actually kind of hilarious. because like they don't know. Some of them
Legit
don't know. And they don't know what to say, and I get more embarrassed for them when they call me a dude or they call me sir or whatever. I get more embarrassed that either somebody I know who knows I'm a woman just heard that and is gonna. I'm afraid
Yeah.
for like I'm not
Everyone,
embarrassed.
like, yeah.
I'm not embarrassed because like I know I look like a dude. I like that, but like it's other people getting in their feelings about
Yeah.
it that I'm like,
It's like,
please
oh.
calm down. Like it's
It's not that serious.
have
I
to-
don't.
you don't have to
Just chill.
apologize. Like I don't
Look,
think it's
don't
offensive
let
that I
Jenny
look
hear
like
you
a dude.
call me a man because she's
Yeah.
gonna rip you a
That
new
bitch is
one.
crazy.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
She'll-
Yeah, I don't
But
want
it
people to
comes
come
in
like,
your favor
actually, she's a
sometimes.
woman. Like,
No,
oh my
yeah.
god, shut up. Like,
Please.
sometimes, I still like to play with people a little bit. I like to
Yeah.
just keep them guessing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And so, like, now, like, when I try to speak as little as possible
Amazing.
in class. But one time, my teacher gave the game away, and she called me a she in front of the whole class.
Oh.
And I was like, damn it!
Like, you bitch, I was going to school. I'm quitting.
I was like,
Class.
I was like, oh, I know they were looking at me too. I know they were like,
Takes a different
What?
hour. Yeah.
they were like, what did?
Excuse me.
They're probably like, did she just misgender that gentleman over there?
But have you
Yeah.
ever, like one time, I had my windshield wipers were going out,
Uh-huh.
and I could only get them from the dealership, and I called, and he thought I was a woman. And I was going out of town the next day, and I was like, oh, but I really need these. Can you please? And he was like, just bring your fine self in. And I showed up. And his face was like such embarrassment.
Oh
And I was like, yep,
Did
I'm a
you get
kid. I got it for free.
That's
too. He was
what's
like,
up.
here you go.
I'm so
First of all,
sorry.
who
Amazing.
talks to a customer on the phone like that?
Look, my
That's
man
weird.
is out.
Bring your fine self in here.
And I
Oh
was
my
like,
gosh.
okay.
All right, that's what you want.
You're in for a twist.
I do think it cracks me up when like when drag queens are performing and then they'll get into their deep voice. I think it's
Yeah.
so
Like
funny.
Alaska is, if she talks, pinpoint, dude.
Yeah.
Like deeper voice. I wish I had her deep voice.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
I love
But then
it.
as a woman, you're like, she's like stunning. Like,
No, yeah.
I
like
love it.
Willem. Oh my god.
Ooh. Also.
I think it's hilarious. Like in the drag show last year when they
And
would they'd
the.
be all up here and they're right down here. It kills me. I don't know why. It
We
just
need to
kills
perfect
me.
it on you, and
It
then
just-
you can.
I
continue
know,
this
yeah.
class.
Yes.
So
Right.
that they'll never know.
Watch
They'll
the
never
teacher
know.
change
Yeah.
it to dude on the
Right. And then you'll be giving your presentation
so
and you
sorry.
go high on us and then come back low and just see the faces like, wait, what?
Puberty.
I'm actually a CAM student.
Oh,
I'm actually
no.
15.
They're making this game hard,
They
okay?
are.
Because they
Yeah.
get up on Grindr and you're like,
Can I see some ID?
it says 18. Yeah, and now I feel the need
No,
to like
yeah.
show me your
Can I see
driver's
some ID?
license.
And it's also like it can get weird, especially
Oh
like
my
when I was a
gosh.
freshman, because like I just turned 18, and it was like there are like some people. I'm like, oh, you're this old? I have to remove myself from the situation immediately.
Oh,
but it's
you
like,
did?
well, no, but it's just like in my mind, like I think,
Like you might have to.
yes, it's
Okay.
like there is definitely like that fear because like I just turned 18.
Yeah.
And people like around my age are like 17, like so it's just like it could
Yeah.
definitely get there. And I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
I fortunately never have had that happen, but it was definitely like a thought of mine.
Yeah.
So
Or like you
Something you have
date
to worry
older
about.
people and
Mm.
they think he's a creep.
yeah,
Because
Mhm.
like I was 16 dating 52-year-olds. Like it wasn't until last year that I dated somebody my own age.
yeah,
Mhm.
So like people think that they're creeps and you're like, okay, but what about straight people? Like my sister's 20 years younger than her husband.
no, that's what I'm saying. I think there's
I
definitely
think
a double
all
standard.
of it's creepy.
Well, fair.
Equally.
That is
Well,
fair.
You just haven't dated the right.
You're
well,
right.
hopefully you
Yeah.
don't.
They're
right.
You marry this
Yeah,
one.
hopefully.
You never know.
It's like whenever you're done with Stephanie.
Yeah. Send her my way and go be with an older person.
Sorry, Stephanie. It's okay.
We love you. I
yeah,
hope you guys
I-
end up together.
Yeah, you're the best. So.
That's so funny because like that's totally true. Like I think all of it is weird, but
Yeah.
like I don't think that means people should stop doing it just because I think it's weird.
No, yeah.
Like,
But I think
like-
these young kids, if you're listening, get off of our dating apps.
Cut it out.
It is
It's
hard
rude.
enough to find a nice man that thinks you're attractive and wants to take you home.
And then you realize they're 15.
And you go to prison and you have to label yourself and you're already getting hate mail.
Yes, don't do that.
That was low-key me, though. I did that.
No. Do as I say, not as I do. Children.
But yeah, I sometimes people will be like, "Okay, Carson, what's your honest opinion?" And I'll be like, "Okay, here it is, but like, fuck what I think." Like,
No,
I don't know
yeah.
why you're even asking
Or
me.
then they
Like,
get all offended because
Yeah.
you're like, just
No,
sharing. Like,
definitely.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look,
I
don't,
don't think-
ask me next time.
If
Yeah.
I'm wrong, just say I'm wrong.
And it's gotten
tell
to the
me
point where
why.
like, look, I'm asking you because I know you'll be honest. What do you think? And I'm like, stop, cut it out right
terrible.
now. It's really bad. They're like, okay, thank you so much. And I'm just like, yeah, don't ask me if you don't want
don't
me
wanna
to.
know.
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
don't want to hear something, because I might say it.
Mhm. I think that's an important part about being a real friend.
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
saying what
just
you
a,
really think.
just a
Even if
person,
you're
not even a
wrong.
friend.
Yeah, that's just as a person. Even if you're wrong, even if you're like just saying it out of whatever bias, whatever nasty opinion you have, like
Yeah.
just say it.
It's like,
you
look,
know?
I said this,
Yeah.
but as I stated before, it is you and not me. I don't care what you do, but this is how I feel about it. Do what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's the same as like my sister married a black guy and I didn't know anything. My only experience was we gave a black girl a bath once when we were watching her, and
Oh,
I learned
okay.
that
Like a black baby.
Yeah, and I
I
learned
was
their
like,
hair,
what?
their hair
Girl
is
who baby.
different.
It is
baby.
very different.
And
Yeah.
so, like, me asking her mom, I'm sure I was offensive because you don't know
Yeah.
at that point. But, like, straight people asking us, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like, we can tell if you're trying to
If
be
you're
an
actually,
genuinely
yeah,
asshole.
asking.
or if you're actually trying
And
to
we
educate
won't get
yourself, yeah.
mad if
Yeah.
you're, like, truly trying to educate yourself. So just
Mhm.
ask us. It makes it
Mhm.
awkward for both of us.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay, last question of the night, and then we'll wrap it up, guys. If you end up having kids in the future and one of them ends up being gay, what will you try to teach them, whether it's a girl or a boy? What kind of values do you want them to grow up with, or what values do you wish you'd been taught as a kid that you might want to pass on to them now?
Fuck what everybody tells you. Like, it is okay. You are you. Like, I like to ski. You like girls or boys. Like, it's fine. Like, don't get insecure. Don't question yourself. Don't feel like you have to say, because I feel like everybody wants you to be a certain type of gay.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just like be you and be. At the end of the day, you go to bed alone, so you have to live with your decisions.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like, be able to stand back
Yeah.
up what you
Yeah.
do.
Mine would probably be like along this, like, look, you do you. Excuse me. You do you. You know, always gonna love you, but let's like you figure yourself out, and whatever you are, that's what you are. But I definitely feel like I would. I think it might also be because like I grew up black, so there was like that education about like this is how some people treat black people, and being like aware of like your surroundings and just being safe. I think I definitely would like, hey, you're gay, so this could. It also depends on I don't know what it's gonna be like in the future and how society will be, but like I would be like, hey, this is something that could possibly happen, so be aware. And those people are idiots, but they're out there. So just like be safe and stuff
Roll
like
your
that.
eyes.
That's it. But just be aware that this is a thing and it could happen to you, sort of thing.
Yeah, it's good.
And piggybacking on that, I would also say just have fun. Like, just enjoy life and don't let that hold you back like, oh, I'm gay, I can't do that because, no, like, fuck that. Just have fun.
Yeah.
For sure.
Is it bad? I would encourage my kid, like, low-key kind of be a hoe. Like,
I don't think so.
I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
want my kid to, like, have a high school sweetheart and just that be their first and
First,
only
yeah.
person. Like, no, get out there. If you're feeling someone, explore it.
No, definitely.
Like, be loose.
Yeah, have fun, explore, definitely. I would definitely fall along all those things as well, and definitely also being aware of the culture
Yeah.
of the times, for sure.
Yeah.
That's a good one, because with all of these things, like just be yourself, screw what everybody else is trying to tell you, they're in the same breath, it's like be safe too.
Yeah.
Understand where you are
Yeah.
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
whose house you're in, you know. Just out of safety, because we don't know, it could still be dangerous
Yeah.
to be gay.
Be
you know,
smart,
and
but
we're
be
No,
free.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
be smart.
Yeah.
For sure. Be
But
smart.
definitely,
but
be
free.
aware.
And that applies to everything, you know, even
Yeah.
sex.
Yeah.
Have fun, but be safe.
Yeah.
You know?
No.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I would teach, if I end up having a kid and he or she's gay or whatever, I think I would also want them to know that, like, it's okay to change.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't have to figure it out right now. And even if you do, and this is where you think you are, try to be
Be
okay with
open,
the
yeah.
fact that it'll change.
It could
and
you could
you'll
feel it
grow up
differently
and
in the
you'll-
future.
Yeah,
Yep.
and because we're always changing. Even our
Yeah.
bodies are always changing. And so don't be scared when all of a sudden you're not interested in it anymore like you used to be. It's okay.
And
You
that's
know,
like the problem with having labels is just like, well, now that I've labeled myself, I guess this is what I'm doing for the rest
now
of
that I've
yeah.
pushed this on
So,
everybody
yeah,
else.
I guess
but
this
I
is what it
changed my
is.
mind.
Yeah.
JK, it was in pencil. I'm erasing. New sheet.
Well, guys, do you have any last comments or questions, or do you guys have fun tonight?
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
well,
Yeah.
He said, I will not be returning.
I will not be
Never
back.
ever again.
You will receive hate mail. Yeah.
We'll see you at the door.
Yeah.
Amazing. Any last comments before we say goodnight to everybody?
You can find Carson at this address. Bring your
Instagram.
Take her to
pitchforks,
task for
yeah.
everything
Bring
she
your
just said
data.
about the gay
Yeah.
flag.
Yeah.
She's
We
the
never got to the
worst.
Pride Parade stuff, but that we can do that for another
That's
conversation.
okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for being on tonight with me. This has been Coalition M on KFHS Radio with your host, Carson Lopez, and I will see you guys next Sunday.